Well, a very good afternoon for you on this Saturday here inside the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink. It's a beautiful day outside. It doesn't even feel like hockey weather, but we're going to bring it to you anyway. Some NEHC conference action between your 8-11-1 UMass Boston Beacons and the 15-5 Elmira College Soaring Eagles. Good afternoon. I'm Chris Del Sordo, joined by Matt Meisenbacher. And Matt, well, it's a huge test across the ice for the Beacons today. They're in a bit of a more difficult situation today than they were yesterday in the conference standings, losing a heartbreaker here at home to William Smith 2-0, and now you have the number 10 nationally ranked Screaming Eagles staring across from you.
Tough start to the weekend. That's one I think UMass really felt like confident going in, felt like they might get 2 points there, and unfortunately for them, 2-0 at home, weren't able to get anything on the scoreboard. Seemed like I wasn't here from it, but from what I understand, a little bit of a slower game. They didn't have that pep that we've seen the last few games up until yesterday. They're going to need it here against the Soaring Eagles. This team's coming in ready. They brought a lot of fans here today. And
making some noise to boot.
Exactly, and even in warm-ups, you can tell these girls are ready to go. So Beacons got to make sure they find that extra gear today.
The Beacons unable to score and surrendering 2 goals yesterday to a team that's towards the bottom of the conference offensively. Not the case with Elmira. Matt, 7 different goal scorers with 6 or more goals, 20 games into the season. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, this team can score, and you take a look. I mean, the COVID year, so you've got a few grad players here. Their top line has 2 of them with McCaffrey and Mordini. One of their top Ds is a graduate senior as well, and Heath. There's a lot of extra years on this hockey team, and they know how to score. This is going to be a true test for the Beacons.
Matt mentioned everybody knows how to score. Jenny Heath, 3rd on the teams in goals, and she plays frontline defense.
Yeah, 119 in her career. That's impressive.
Taking a look at the season statistics side by side, the Beacons averaging 2 goals per contest, a bit higher for Elmira, but 3.5 goals per contest. Not astronomical by any means. If there is a path to win the game today, and we talked about it before we went on air today, there's always a path, there's always a way to win. How do you do it against this Soaring Eagles team?
Well, it's going to be on the freshman goaltender, Leah Bosch out of Minnetonka, Minnesota. She's going to get called upon here today to start, and she's going to face a lot of rubber. In matchups like this where on paper you seem to be a little bit out of your league, I take a look. I think 2 things. You got to have strong goaltending, and you got to have a strong start. One thing you've got is home ice. This team's traveled. They played yesterday. It's a quick turnaround. You're going to need good goaltending, and you're going to need a good start here in the first period. Try to keep this thing close. Break it down from a 60-minute game into 3 20-minute periods.
And I talked to you about this before we hopped on there. If you want to look at like any chink in the armor in this Elmira College team, you would be hard-pressed to find it. Stretching a little bit to call it maybe a chink in the armor, not the best PK in the conference, more towards the middle of the pack, and that would be a way to attack, except if you're the Beacons, you're in the middle of a huge power play drought in your own right. You're not even above the 10% mark.
Yeah, you've got to capitalize. If you're the Beacons, you've got to find ways to capitalize on your offense here today. I don't think you're going to get many opportunities. You take a look at the goals against, 1.7. So when you get an opportunity, especially in the grade 8 area, you've got to make sure you not only get that on net, try to create maybe some secondary chances off some rebounds, take this goaltender's eyes away. You take a look up here at the matchups today, and take a look at Emily Hansen, 11 points.
Team leading 3 power play goals on the season, talking about the freshman, Emily Hansen.
11, yeah, I was about to say 11 points for a freshman. That's very solid. And then Mordini, we talked about, the graduate senior, 20 points, 10 goals, 10 assists on this season, and well over 100 points in her career.
Morgan Mordini, one of 2 double-digit goal scorers right now for Elmira College. One of 7 different players with at least 15 points on the season. They're announcing the players right now. We have about 1 more minute before we get really into it with the anthem. So let's take a quick sneak peek at the Beaks, if you will. A bit happening today on Saturday the 28th. Not our crazy normal slate, no basketball today, but the indoor track and field team at the New Balance meet happening indoors at the Reggie Lewis Center downtown. That's over the course of all day. We have the Soaring Eagles of Elmira College facing off against your women's team here in Boston, and then out in central New York, the men taking on the Screaming Eagles at 4 p.m. You've played in that venue before. You've taken that trip before. What do the men have out in front of them today?
Tough road. Well, they had Hobart last night. They lost 6-1, and now another test against Elmira here today. That's tough on the men. They're going to need a good effort as well, and they're on the road. The one thing I'll mention, Chris, before we get started here with starting a freshman is you're giving her an opportunity. There's really could only go up. And anytime you're starting a freshman, there's going to be some nerves. You're a little nervous coming into the game. But when you play against a team like Elmira, I'm sure the coaching staff mentioned to her, hey, we know what they look like on paper. We're not expecting much here from you. Show us what you can do. Show us what you can do and earn some minutes here in the second half of the season. So I'll be curious how she starts the game here.
Leah Bosch going to be who we are keeping our eyes on. If it doesn't work out for her, or if they just decide to swap it up, Victoria Kennedy, the sophomore out of Winthrop, Massachusetts, very similar numbers would be next in line. About ready to throw it to the national anthem, so we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the opening face-off between your Beacons and the Soaring Eagles.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Proportion to me.
A quick look at the action scheduled around the NEHC today. Plymouth State and Salem State. That's a matchup featuring two teams currently towards the bottom of the conference standings, and Plymouth State leading 2-1 at the end of the first. Norwich probably expected to win this contest, but you never know. The Pilgrims of NEC across from them at 3, Southern Maine at Castleton. That game has a lot of implications for the 6th seed in the playoff hunt. That game at 3, and at 4, down in Providence, it's the same William Smith team that came in here last night and beat the Beacons 2-0, heading out to place Johnson and Wales. So you see that in front of you right there. A lot at stake. Elmira, Matt, comfortably at the top of the NEHC. They are still undefeated at a perfect 13-0 in conference play on the season. What would it mean for the Beacons to give them their first loss of the year?
Huge. I mean, these are the types of wins that can not only catapult you up the standings, but really give confidence to your team for the remainder of the season. But, yeah, for me, I think the start of this game is everything. I think these Beacons, the last thing they can do is let this game get away in the first period. They've got to find a way to keep this thing close, at least for the first 20, and then build off that from there. Before
we get into it, we want to thank our sponsor, McCourt Construction, a premier general contractor in Boston since 1893, building America for the past 120 years. Referee drops the puck. We are underway, and Katie Wilbert scrapping along in the pile. She wins the faceoff, and the Beacons starting this afternoon with the puck, and Isabella Henningsen-Brown, the true freshman out of Portland, Oregon, on the puck first. It's lost back into the defensive zone. Gabby Shantz trying to thread the needle, but it's picked up at neutral ice very quickly for the Soaring Eagles by Mary McCafferty. Now, Hallie Riva, she scored 2 goals against the Beacons the first time these two teams linked up. She gets dispossessed from the puck, but Mary McCafferty and her 14 assists on it. Katie Manning, the shot from the point gets deflected, but it's handled by McCafferty in the near side corner. Trying to cycle it behind the net are the Soaring Eagles, but they turn it over. Gabby Shantz, nice job there, and the Beacons going back the other way. Henningsen-Brown with a step around the skater, bearing in, backhand shoveled just wide. No one there to really help out with a rebound, but she got it on net, did Isabella Henningsen-Brown, and that speaks to the strides she's been making in this, her first season here in Boston. Well, we're 1 minute into the action here. Elmira College opting for the line change, same for the Beaks, and charging ahead is Anna Gustafson, back into the lineup for the Beacons. Had been a healthy scratch a couple of times earlier this season. She's behind the net now. Kozik asking for it in front of the net, skates to it on the right side post. Beacons not looking too intimidated right now across from the Soaring Eagles team as that wrister from the point got through. It's deflected away. First save made by Leonie Louise Kohlberger. the team's ultra-talented sophomore, Matt, she only had to make 10 saves the last time these two teams met up.
Her numbers look good, but you're right. They protect her, and I think that's part of it as well. You work so hard to get to the goaltender, and then you finally get there, and she's one that can really make those big saves.
This centering pass got into Liz Cramp, and Liz Cramp really this season has done everything for the Beacons except get the puck in the back of the net. She had to chop at that one there and couldn't get it quite on frame. Kuhlberger kicks it away calmly, and they'll send it back in. Well, 2 minutes into the action here, and not much to be spoken about. This one getting chased after by Erica Galeniak. Team high 14 assists, her and McCafferty apiece. And that says a lot about a team when you have two players 20 games in already with 14 assists apiece. Riefler takes the puck away. McDougal trying to go for a dump and change, but it's just blocked out of midair by Elizabeth LePage. And now Galeniak across center ice. Has a player to her right, Kelly Millens. Millens chips it ahead. Couldn't get to it cleanly, and now the Beacons once again tasked with getting it out of the zone. That one fluttered in, read beautifully by Gabby Shantz, and some nice puck handling, but can't escape the zone. Nice effort on the backside there from Elmira's number 12, or pardon me, Alina Toole.
Chris, one of the things I'm noticing here is Elmira sending two forwards in, very aggressive on the forecheck, and even their F3, the third forward coming in, is below the circle, so they're going with an ultra-aggressive forecheck here, trying to create some turnovers. Beacons are going to need to adjust at least twice here so far. They've had chances to get this puck out. Here's another one that's going to stay in. They're going to have to make note of that.
And that's the first one that gets all the way into Leah Bosch, so she makes the save tested. It took 3 minutes for them to get a shot on goal, and that's surprising because Matt said it. 48 shots on goal per contest for Elmira with a very aggressive offensive look. Now, is that something that you expect them to continue, or is that just maybe a nook to start this game off?
No, I think that's the strategy coming into this game is they're going to put a lot of pressure on these D to make a good pass. Bosch is going to cover this up, but basically what you're doing there is challenging the defense. Anytime you run a scheme like that, is challenging them to make a play with the puck and not panic. And when you're in your own zone, you've got nowhere to go but forward, and you see two people coming at you, it can be a little bit daunting.
Pretty easy to panic.
Very easy to panic. So that's something the Beacons have got to be aware of and adjust to.
Hansen in the face-off circle. She can't win the draw, and that's a lackadaisical pass across ice. Still almost threatened. This is McCafferty in a dangerous spot. I don't know if Bosch saw that. Deflected off the bar, down, and a goal. And it's Mary McCafferty, one of the usual suspects, the team captain, scoring her 7th goal of the year.
Well, again, a lot of pressure there on the end zone, right? And just a couple opportunities there. I don't think the Beacons really had an opportunity to clear, but they just couldn't get the possession of the puck that they needed in order to do so. And McCafferty was able to just rip that thing under the bar. That's a great shot from the slot. No chance for Bosch.
It's funny. It looked like that first shot from the point would have threatened Bosch in and enough, and it just got caught up in front of her, and then the puck was sitting there. It's such a juicy spot. I think everybody on the Soaring Eagles team could have capitalized on that puck, but you want no one other than Mary McCafferty to do it.
Especially with that shot. That would have beaten anybody.
So McCafferty lights the lamp just 3.5 minutes into this contest, and Elmira, what seemed to look like maybe a slower start for the first 2 minutes, all of a sudden has announced their presence, and they're back on the forecheck deep in the offensive end. On the puck, centering pass intended. That was for Claire Meter. She has 6 goals on the season. She couldn't connect, and now Liz Cramp just trying to do anything to get this one deeper into the zone, but it's quickly skated upon by Lexi Hoffman. I mentioned this map before when this game got started. There are 3 listed defenders that have scored 5 or more goals already for the Soaring Eagles. Hoffman's just another one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we're going to watch. There's going to be a lot of names I think we're going to find on the score sheet when this thing is all said and done.
And you got to think that might be a byproduct of what you were talking about, is sending all 3 of your forwards down close to the net. And we see with players like Margot Butters here, if you have a player with a great shot from the blue line, you'll take all your goals coming from that spot if you can.
Without a doubt. You've got to have trust in your defense as well, right? Because you know your forwards, as we take a look at the replay there, and just a great shot by McCafferty. You see it barring in. But when you have your forwards that low in the offensive zone, if they get beat, you know as a defender, you're going to probably have an odd man rush coming down on you.
And it looked like, unfortunately, Mia Boyd was at the right spot to deflect that puck out of the way. But after blocking the shot, it must have just got caught up in her equipment or something. And whereas most everyone else skated away from the puck, you see McCafferty, that nose for the goal, was right there to hop on it. So we're 5 minutes into this contest now. It's 1-0 Elmira College. Beacons holding their own in the face-off circle, but it looks like they might have gotten caught in the line change. And now Galeniak and the Soaring Eagles aptly soaring down the ice here. First to it is Claire Elfring, a sophomore out of Lanesburg, Michigan. Met by her teammate Kelly Millens, and this is The third line right now generating some looks here for Elmira College. On the point is Nikizek over to LePage. LePage, wrister. It's deflected in front. It doesn't get onto the frame. But Galeniak once again in the mix. And this third line causing issues for the Beacons defense. They do finally clear the zone, but Hansen can't do much with it. Gets it back to Mia Boyd, and Boyd calming it down, slides it over to Margot Butters. This looks like the Beacons are playing a step behind right now. We didn't touch on this yet. No more Sydney Leonard on the team, at least for the rest of this season, and that was a player coming really into her own, especially in the most recent 8 games. 3 goals on the season, all 3 of them coming in the last 8 games. You look at the Beacons line chart even for tonight, and it's not even a full 4th line out there right now. It just makes everything that much tougher with this matchup.
Without a doubt.
So the face-off won by the Beacons, but they can't do anything with it, and Mordini right back on it, probably with eyes to take this one up on a potential breakout here. Elmira taking their time. That one's lofted up, almost grabbed by Kaylee Kozik. She would have had that in a dangerous spot on the slot. Shantz is able to enter it back into the zone, and that takes a funny carob off the boards. Scurries right in front of Kohlberger. We called Leonie Louise Kohlberger's name about a minute into the action, and it's been 6 minutes, and we haven't touched on her since then. It's been a great job shoring up the backside for Elmira College. McCafferty trying to dance through there, and she had a couple of players up there with her. I believe it was the left wing, Holly Riva, that was just ahead of that play and was called offsides. Just a tough task for the Beacons here. As you can see, the first line, they did account for the first goal, but they've already had a shift with a third line generating 4 shots in a row. And we talked about it before. I talked to Todd, our PA announcer, down before this game got started. What today is going to be is which Beacons can make a name for themselves in what is going to be an uphill battle today.
Yeah, I mean, so far you're right there with them. It's 13 minutes still left in this period. It's only 1-0. I think so far they've done an okay job. Again, this forecheck you're seeing, that could have been called a trip. But you're seeing this forecheck. Beacons are doing all right with it. They just got to limit the turnovers when they don't have their first option available.
Well, Elmira in a dangerous position right now, cycling it around the zone. Horton's shot, though, is deflected by Allie Riefler, and it does get out of the zone. So a very nice job for Riefler, a player who we see continuing to develop in this her sophomore season. Kind of more of a truly one-way player, an offensive threat out on the wings last season, and now really kind of centering the line well when asked for the sophomore. Fighting for it along the blue line is Emma Bradbury. Poked at it and losing the wheels on the play. That was Melina Maggio. Maggio got to the puck, but Bradbury, look at this second effort. She's first to it behind the red line now. Now wheeling behind the net, looking for LePage on the point, decides to circle it back and go back the other way. Looking at the opted wrister, there's bodies in front, and that's a big save for Bosch. Is right on the doorstep was Mackenzie Schmidt vying for the goal. And Bosch, big when the Beacons need her. That is just her 3rd save of the afternoon.
Yeah, nice little save there. A quick play right on top. She's on the goal line. Just basically at that point, it was very difficult for anybody to get that up top. So you just take everything you can low and just start building the wall along the ice. She was able to corral the rebound as well.
Here's Emily Hansen, the team's best face-off winner. She doesn't win it right there, but nice effort by the long, lengthy Anna Gustafson there, using the wingspan to poke that puck out of the zone and out of trouble. Now Gustafson charging ahead. That forces the turnover. Let's see if there's anything here. The Beacons have Elmira a little bit off as Margot Butters puts it off the right side boards. Chasing down, giving chase is Gustafson. She takes it off the stick of Kozik, and now Gustafson wheeling it back in, just kind of too hot with it there along the side boards, and that's going to be an unforced error turnover. Great play by number 17, Elizabeth LePage. LePage, a sophomore out of Swansea, Massachusetts. Even though Elmira College, about 4.5 hours away from us in central upstate New York, a decent amount of Massachusetts residents on that roster. They're going everywhere to get their players.
That's Massachusetts hockey for you. They're all over the country.
Well, let's see. Liz Cramp, a nice one-touch here, and Cramp and Kozik off to the races. Cramp wheeling around, circles back, tries to lift that one over the net. It gets deflected on the way in. Nice little creative look there for Liz Cramp. Riefler first to it. Riefler and Cramp actually collide, but McDougall's going to skate onto it at the point. McDougall, some contact. Awkward contact, but nothing warranting a penalty right there, and so this one will just get sent behind the net.
It was close. It was close. You could have called it if you wanted to.
That was a good centering pass from Cramp into McDougall, but the shot misses wide, and now Riefler onto the left corner boards, the goal line on the left side. Loses it, though, and McDougall just couldn't quite spin around to it, and here's Galeniak out of the bench at the nick of time is Adriana Crapaldi. And that saved a breakaway look for Galeniak. But Galeniak onto it behind the net now. Elmira College leading 1-0 thanks to the 7th goal of the season from Mary McCafferty. Wheeling around here is Mordini. 10 points, 10 assists. That one's sent in. It goes wide. But Claire Elfring right back on it, the sophomore. Wheels a look over and then takes a spill. No penalty to be called. That's a centering pass in. Galeniak is there, but it got tipped. A nice play by Crepaldi, but she can't clear it out of the zone. Mordoni, her second attempt, it gets blocked right off of her stick, and here comes Crepaldi back the other way. A good minute of hockey for her, Adriana Crepaldi, the true freshman, and she gets that one all the way out of trouble, and now just taking some time off the clock, fighting in the corners. Henningsen Brown, first to it behind the net, back out to the point to Gabby Shantz. Shantz will go right back behind the net. Hansen couldn't get situated, but Maggio all the way over to it. Maggio chopping at it, but it'll go out to Hallie Riva, and look out. Riva with a little toe drag, but it's tipped away by Kaylee Kozik. Nice poke check there, and oh, the centering pass intended for Henningsen Brown. It would have sprung her. The Beacons were dealing with a potential 3-on-2. Just missed that pass across the middle of the ice.
That's the player you want, too, in Kozik. She keeps that puck in the own zone, and you're right. They were pretty close to having a rush there of their own.
And so now the feel of this game is, it must be, Matt, where the Beacons want it to be right now. Very balanced past 7 minutes of hockey right now, and the puck, it really seems like maybe some searching passes through neutral ice, and that's really all either team has right at this second of this hockey game to generate some looks. It's not as if we haven't seen Elmira get situated and cycle around their zone that much recently.
I think the Beacons are defending well. I think the one thing for me that stood out thus far is they've got to be okay with the speed at which Elmira plays. There is a little bit of panic in their game right now. If they can settle down just a little bit more, I think they'll be better off.
Riefler gets to the puck first, and this could be a big zone hold here, but it's tipped right out of the zone, right out of trouble. You can see, I'm glad you just mentioned it, Matt. If there's anything that could describe the difference between these two teams right now, it's calmness. Everything about Elmira, it's smooth. It's a 1-0 lead. They haven't generated as many shots as I don't think either you or I anticipated. I mean, it really is only 3 shots on goal. That's impressive for the Beacons. But everything they're doing is smooth. There's no panic. The recoveries that need to be made are getting made by Elmira up to this point. And I guess that's at the end of the day, that's what a number 10 nationally ranked team looks like.
Well said.
So the face-off this time won by Elmira. Up to this point, it was even in the game. This gives Elmira the 6-5 nod. But they're having some trouble getting out of the zone here. Still cycling it back, and it might have been as designed here on a potential breakout to Holly Riva. Riva spins back and gets it, and she'll just dump it in. Half of a personnel change here as they change up the forward line. And now the second line featuring Schmidt, Meter, and Bradbury, who looked good on the forecheck, is back on the ice now for Elmira College. Speaking of which, Schmidt, the back check to keep it in. And Emma Bradbury almost takes a spill. She keeps her footing up, and this will leave an opening right in front of the net for Meter, and I think she just fanned on the shot.
Yeah, she missed it.
Leah Bosch was a little bit late on that slide over. Would have been a tough ask for her, but Meter fans a slight bit on the shot, and so the Beacons dodge a bullet there, still trailing 1-0, but playing fairly well. Gustafson looked a little. Go for it.
Sorry, Chris. I was going to say that's pretty much how they scored their first goal, Elmira. That clearly they're going to want to work behind the net and try to find somebody in that low slot for a quick one-timer now. That's another thing the Beacons got to recognize. There's really not a lot Elmira's doing that's irregular or a scheme that they haven't seen before. I mean, these are fairly common schemes that Elmira's running right now, and so just need a little bit of an adjustment for the Beaks.
Well, here's Elizabeth LePage. She's had a nice game keeping trouble out away from the Beacons' net. Taking the spill on the play, Peyton Nikasic. But she'll get right back to it. And it looks like Anna Gustafson was trying to get situated in front of the net, just got knocked off her block ever so slightly, and that affected the play going back the other way. Galeniak once again pushing the tempo along with Kelly Millens. And so all 4 offensive lines for Elmira College really announcing their presence. And you got to think there's not that big of a discrepancy in talent between those top 3 lines on Elmira, as Galeniak, dancing through the defense, misses that shot high and wide. But Heath keeps it back in the zone, and they cycle back around. Centering pass gets read beautifully on the play by Hansen, and somehow it gets chopped at and ends up back behind the net. And so the Soaring Eagles, even amidst the line change, keeping this look going.
There's a high stick in there, too. Referees missed it.
We haven't had a call either way yet, and it does seem like a lot of the 50-50 calls, the whistle is getting swallowed. Great save there by Leah Bosch with some traffic in front. Puck still loose, and Riefler gets to it. But that was a good 2 minutes of offense, extended offensive zone stay for Elmira College.
And you're okay with that if you're the Beacons, right? The old bend but don't break. I think Elmira's going to generate offense. You're not going to be able to limit that. Really what you can do is just limit where they're getting their opportunities from. And I think for the most part, other than the one that's gone in, Beacons have done a solid job.
That one just a hair out of reach for Adriana Crepaldi. The Beacons might have had something there. Instead, Mia Boyd gets chopped at. I guess they're going to say that was on her own accord that she hit the ice, but
letting them play.
They are letting them play, and it's been I got to be honest, it's going both ways here. They swallow the ice altogether. You like it when it keeps the game wide open and flowing. You don't like it when perceivably the more skilled team is then also getting the benefit of no calls. We're nowhere near that point. Still 14 minutes into this hockey game. The score's still 1-0, and a lot of puck just being held deep in the corners as McDougal takes a hard hit. She's down underneath. She's back on her skates now with her stick, but that hit caused her to drop her stick. That was a dangerous pass as Holly Riva dancing through, and it will be a delayed penalty coming against the Beacons. Riva was unmarked, and her pass was intended for Mary McCafferty. It could have been McCafferty's second goal, and she gets taken down on the play, and it will be the first power play we've seen today.
Yeah, Butters is going to go. Just got caught in a trip. The feet weren't moving whatsoever. I think if her feet were moving, maybe gets away with it, but I think the fact that she was just planted with her stick down in the skates there, a pretty easy call for the referee. So the Beacons will be shorthanded here. We're going to get a look at this Elmira power play for the first time today.
So that's Margot Butters' 7th penalty of the season. She's now second on the team in penalties taken and penalty minutes. That was the one you kind of have to take for the good of the team in that situation there. And let's see. 17% on the power play for Elmira College, and the Beacons have a great penalty kill in their own right at 88%. Something's got to give here. Morton. Wow, a great dangle from the point. She's such a great puck handler from the defensive spot.
And just take a look at Margot's on the far side here. Puck's going to come across. You see that trip. Pretty easy call. That's textbook.
And so it sends it out to the right side circle. That just took 13 seconds off the power play, and it was already a white-knuckled 13 seconds. So let's see. Faceoff is corralled by the Eagles. They're keeping it along the blue line here. That's a soft touch. It gets to Horton, and she has some room to operate now. Mackenzie Schmidt. That puck sent in front. It's chipped up, controlled by Emma Bradbury. She puts it on the deck, and that one, it almost snuck all the way through. And Emma Bradbury, I've called her name quite a bit, one of the bigger just bodies out there on the offensive zone and skating into some dangerous territory there for the Soaring Eagles. Surprising that puck didn't sneak through, honestly.
Yeah, the Beacons are doing a good job clogging the middle. I think Elmira's got plenty of time, anything outside, and clearly that's going to be the way they're going to try to kill off this power play is just pack the house. Anything in the middle is going to be taken away, and we're going to get another call here.
So the whistle is blown. It looks like interference is going to be the call, and exactly what you don't need when you're playing fairly well up a weight class against the number 10 nationally ranked Soaring Eagles of Elmira College. It's already hard enough playing 5-on-4. Now it's going to be a little 5-on-3 as it's Melina Maggio heading into the sin bin.
Yeah, and this one's just based off speed, right? Interference call. This Elmira team plays fast, so if you get caught with no foot speed, you can maybe try to get a little bit of a nudge and get your body in the way, but if you do it too much, you're going to get called for an interference just like you saw.
Big face-off win for Liz Cramp there. Unfortunately, she can't clear the zone. It's going to be Cramp along with Gabby Shantz and Addie Buddington. Probably the three players you want out there in your 5-on-3. Shantz and Buddington have been the anchors for this defense the past 2 years. But McCafferty, fresh off a goal 4 minutes ago, that's a rifled wrister that goes high and wide off the stick of Lexi Hoffman. So many threats here on this Elmira College offense as that one's down the near point. Riva's centering pass misses everybody, but Heath onto it. Back to McCafferty from the high slot, wristed, and that one gets deflected by Liz Cramp. Nice job staying at home and staying low and sending that one into the net. And here's a look at the penalty that made this a 5-on-3 power play.
Yeah, you can see right there, that puck's nowhere near, and Elmira was ready to turn, get that towards the blue line. Maggio, you could call that a trip. You called interference there, but just got caught again, flat-footed a little bit.
To our viewing audience, I should have known better. You don't talk about penalties and the lack of getting whistles. 2 in a row against the Beacons. 40 seconds gone in this 5-on-3, though, and just 40 seconds left into it as that puck's deflected in front, but Bosch is able to save it out. It gets right back to Maddie Horton, though. The dangerous player from Colorado Springs, Colorado, slides it over to Mackenzie Schmidt. Schmidt, left-handed look, wristers deflected, and the save is made by Leah Bosch. Hasn't been tested all that much, but up to the occasion on this power play. Behind the net, Elmira. changing the angle now. Centering pass from Schmidt. It gets deflected out to Horton. Rister through traffic, and Meter couldn't get a stick to it. Great job by the trio of Kaylee Kozik and the freshman Mia Boyd, along with Katie Wilbert. Just 6 seconds left in this 5-on-3. It's in a dangerous spot. Bosch blockers it away. Bradbury goes for the backhand. It's covered up by Bosch, and the Beacons do kill off that first penalty.
Well, smart play by Katie Wilbur, and this won't show up on the stat sheet, but in front of the net there was a little bit of a scrum going on, and didn't get the number on Elmira, but whoever it was, their stick got caught somewhere in the pants or in the shoulder. It was kind of hard to tell, but Wilbert fell to the ice, made it kind of look like she stumbled over her own feet, and with that stick caught, it allowed her goaltender to make that save and get a change.
It's all in the nuances. Hockey is a game like that.
What you can get away with, yeah.
Sometimes it's not how good you are, it's how crafty you are. And Katie Wilbert is crafty as they come. And
smart play.
All of a sudden now, Elmira just kind of trying to skate around the blue line to open up an angle here. Nothing doing. As Matt, you said it, the Beacons are holding down the fort in the middle of the ice. That pass from Riva doesn't get to McCaffrey, and McCaffrey finally gets to it with just 11 left on the power play. Mordini. Haven't heard a lot out of Morgan Mordini quite yet. We expect that to change. Manning to Heath. It's blocked on the play. Great play by Gabby Shantz, and the Beacons just killed off a 5-on-3 power play against the number 10 nationally ranked team in college hockey.
Well done.
Level.
Yeah, impressive. I mean, quite frankly, you can't win a hockey game like that, but it'll keep you in it, and I think they're going to probably be due for a penalty or a power play of their own.
Well, Mordini can never keep a good skater down. She's right back dancing through the zone. It's a Heath wrister, and the big save from Bosch as Galiniak was right in front and couldn't get the puck on her stick and get past Leah Bosch. But again, a dangerous spot on the blue line. Now Manning's wrister. Bosch doesn't close the glove on it. It doesn't come back to bite her as it deflects behind the net. Riefler, once again, that might be some of the panic you talked about as she just skates right past that puck and turns it over at neutral ice. Now Elfring, down the left sideboard, centers it back. It's intercepted by Hannah McDougall. Nice job there. Now McDougall, eyes across ice. Riefler's going to give it another try. She skates onto it, wants to dump it into that's Leonie Kohlberger, and Kohlberger decides to touch it up with Henningsen Brown diving in there, just maybe giving it one last chance to knock that one into the net.
That's a little lax by both players, Kohlberger and Henningsen Brown, and she didn't really stop in front. You got to make sure that goaltender covers that puck, and she kind of skated by. I thought Kohlberger might try to play that. She was in between there.
Leonie Kohlberger had to make one save at the 1 minute mark in this first period, had to make another save at the 7 minute mark. That's just the third time that her number has been called, and easy to fall asleep, I guess, in that regard when you haven't seen a lot of the puck.
Well, that's one of the challenges of being a goaltender is you're not always going to have action. What are you going to do in those minutes, those lulls, as you would call them, when you're not facing action? How do you stay involved in the hockey game mentally?
That was a closer shot than it appeared from Gabby Shantz off the faceoff win, which was just the third win in the faceoff circle for the Beacons this first period. The Soaring Eagles outdrawing them 13-3. Kozik a wrister, and it's sent away by Kohlberger. That might have been the toughest save she's had to make so far. This one goes all the way back down to Leah Bosch. Eyes ahead in the direction of Addie Buddington. Buddington sends it along the shots, and the Beacons trying to wheel it around the boards. It won't clear it out of trouble. Schmitz's shot's blocked right in front of the slot. That was a big defensive play from Gabby Shantz. She's having to cover a lot of ground this afternoon, and she knew that would be her assignment. Still up to task. Gustafson not on it too clearly, but ultimately chopping at it, gets it out of the trouble. We have 1 minute left to go here in the first period. Beacons trailing by one, and a little 3-on-2 here as Andrews goes for the toe drag, drops it back off, and a huge save from Leah Bosch. As that was M.K. Boyle trailing. This is the fourth line for Elmira College generating some looks. Big play in the middle of the ice by Gabby Shantz to knock it away, and the puck does exit the zone.
That was a tremendous save by Bosch. I don't think folks realize how hard to get that blocker up in time from a low slot area. Another glove save there. Great save to keep her team in it.
It does seem like these opportunities have been coming in runs as we have a look at these two big saves here from Leah Bosch.
That's just a tricky save there, folks, to have that puck change possession right on top of you and then be able to get that blocker up in time. That thing was labeled, and a great save. I think might have been her best of the period.
Double-digit saves now for Leah Bosch, and she had to reach up for that one. It goes just over the crossbar. Elmira College has been threatening these past couple of minutes here as we're in the final 15 seconds of the first period. Riefler Some tough work there, having to get it out of McCafferty's grasp, but she's able to do just that. Butters, that was a nifty look there to lift it over the first line of defense for Elmira College, and that will, well, one last look with Riva near the boards, and no, that will do it and bring us to the end of the first period. Honestly, Matt, maybe we were preparing for the worst, because this was a fun first period of hockey in a game that the Beacons are very much still in.
Oh, without a doubt. And that's the thing. I mean, that's why you play the game, right? If it was just a paper matchup, there'd be no reason to play. That's why this Beacons team is right there. It's a 1-0 game. Sure, they gave one up, and they spent most of the time defending. I think for me, you're probably happy with the way your goaltender's playing, and defensively, maybe a little bit of room for improvement. I thought they had a few too many turnovers there in their own zone, but overall, a pretty good period. I think for me, the one thing that has to change is they have got to adjust to the speed at which Elmira plays. I mean, there's just too many opportunities now where Elmira throws a little bit of pressure at them. They've got their head down. They're not looking to see where they can go with the puck, and they just kind of throw it away. And Elmira, that's exactly what they're trying to generate. I mean, it's exactly why you forecheck the way you forecheck. If you're trying to have people panic, and we talked about it on the air, when you do that, you're asking for turnovers. So that's something that has to be addressed with the Beacons is playing a little bit quicker, understanding where your options are. If you get the puck, where can I go with it? And just being okay. Hey, they're going to come at me. There's going to be pressure. That's not going to change. So it's what you do with the pressure the rest of this hockey game that's going to determine whether you win or lose.
And another note, this game, nothing like the game that these two teams played earlier this season. It was a 5-0 win for Elmira College the last time these two teams played, but they had a 3-0 lead before we got to the 12-minute mark of the first period, sat on that lead the rest of the game, and then scored 2 very late goals. So if nothing else, you're in a different type of matchup than you had the last time you played this team. You might just be seeing something different that you didn't see the first time.
Yeah, I think you've got to feel good. I think both teams will feel good. Elmira dominated the possession in that period. I think that they've got to be happy with the 1-0 lead. And I think if you're the Beacons, you're thinking, hey, they threw a lot at us. They only got 1. We can make some adjustments here in the second period and see if we can even this thing up.
So 1-0 is the score. Mary McCafferty, her 7th goal of the season, just 3.5 minutes into the contest, the lone goal to get us to this point. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have the the first period intermission numbers for you. Basketball team with a huge doubleheader against WestCon earlier this week, and we have the highlights for you. Take a look at those. We'll be back with more after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network.
UMass Boston women's basketball looking to get back in the win column against WestCon at home on Wednesday night. Meg Dixon 14 points away from 1,000 coming to the game. And early on, it would be a barrage of 3-pointers for UMass Boston. Carrie-Ann Farina kicks it off with a 3 to make it 3-0 Beacons early on. Then it's 5-3 later on. Meg Dixon hits a 3. She's now 11 points away from hitting 1,000. And the Beacons will continue to roll. Paige Olivier with a 3 of her own. She's been on fire as of late. And the Beacons in control early on by 8. Dixon would hit one more 3 to close out the first quarter for the Beacons, who led 16-8 after 1. And Dixon already with 6 points to her name. And then Dixon once again with a layup off the steal here makes it 18-13. So at this point now she's got 8 points. So Meg Dixon just 6 away from getting to 1,000. Tatiana Fevry, the game's tied up at 20 all. She hits a jumper. Beacons back in control 22-20. And then before the end of the first half would be Gabrielle Franks hitting a layup. The Beacons go into the halftime locker room up just 1, 23-22. And in the second half, it would be the WestCon Wolves taking control. Ashley Riley hits a pair of free throws. And then Nicole Vivian with the game tied at 26 puts WestCon in front by 2. And then another layup right here by Alyssa Virtue makes it 30-26 Wolves. But the Beacons would end up responding, and it would be Paige Olivier kicking off the run for UMass Boston. She hits this 3 on the fast break, steps back, and nails it. She had 7 points on the day, along with 5 rebounds and 3 blocks, along with 3 assists as well. Beacons take the lead back as Alexa Potter is going to hit a layup down low. You see Meg Dixon missing the shot, gets her own rebound, lays it up again, misses it, and then Potter lays it home, the and one opportunity. The Beacons back in front, 31-30. And then Dixon, a buzzer beater right here with the Beacons trailing by 3. You're going to see Farina coming down the court, gives it to Dixon. She heaves it up and nails it. And just like that, she's 1 point away at this point from 1,000 in her career. Beacons now trailing by 4. Sabela Jensen, layup down low, makes it 41-39. And then Jensen having a role in this basket by Potter. Paige Olivier with the air ball. Jensen diving out of bounds, makes the save, gets it to Potter. Potter lays it up and in. And just like that, we are tied back up at 41. Sunny Green then with the Beacons ahead by 1. This is where the Beacons start to hit their shots when they need to. Lays it up. Beacons in control by 3 points. And then Carrie Ann Farina with the Beacons up by just 1 point is going to get into some trouble here in a double team. Somehow gets the jumper off, and it's good. Beacons back up by 3. And then Sunny Green once again lays it up and in. Beacons up by 5. And then this is where Meg Dixon finally eclipses 1,000 points on the free throw, makes it 49-45. She becomes the 9th player in program history to hit 1,000 points. And the Beacons end up winning this one 50-45. Meg Dixon finishing the game with 15 points and 9 rebounds in 35 minutes. The Beacons now get a week off before they hit the road to take on the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth next Wednesday night at 5:30 p.m. The Beacons currently in the 6th and final LEC tournament playoff spot, 1 game ahead of Southern Maine with the tiebreaker in hand at the moment.
What are your expectations?
First intermission here at the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink, and your Beacons holding their own against the number 10 nationally ranked and the undefeated in the NEHC Elmira College Soaring Eagles 1-0. Hard fought first period for the Beacons, Matt. I'm Chris Del Sordo, joined with Matt Meisenbacher, and as you look at the stats, the only discrepancy is the penalties and the power play, and that didn't come back to bite the Beacons. It's been, as much as it can be, a fairly even contest with what both teams knew they were bringing to the ice today.
Yeah, you kill off a 5-on-3. I mean, I don't care who the opponent is. That's a tremendous win for your entire team and your entire roster. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think, again, where the Beacons are at, they've got to be somewhat pleased with. You've got a freshman, let's not forget, a freshman goaltender in there, and she's kicking for you. 13 shots on goal for the period, only 1 goal against. She made a couple key stops there that allowed her team to get that kill. We mentioned the blocker save. We showed you the replay there.
Right at the end of the period, too, which is the easiest time to let in a lackadaisical goal, and she turned it on right at the end, too.
So she's doing well, and I think that the one thing you've just got to clearly focus on here in the second period is limiting the turnovers. I just saw too many times where players were getting the puck, they had their head buried down into the ice, no idea by the time where they were going with the puck. By the time Elmira was on top of them, it was basically an automatic turnover. So that you're not going to win a hockey game by doing that. They've got to be able to know, hey, if I get the puck, there is going to be an Eagle on me, and I've got to know at least if I don't have a passing option, I mean, bare minimum, get it off the glass, get it to the neutral zone, especially when you've got this many Eagles that are going to be attacking. You've got so much space at the blue line and beyond. Use that to your advantage. So little things like that they can adjust, and if they can do that, they might be able to create some opportunities of their own.
And so when I get basketball games that kind of are that low-scoring, nitty-gritty, tough, drawn-out defensive struggle, we go to the hustle stats. You want to talk about hustle stats. One of the reasons why the Beacons still within this 1-goal game, threatening in their own right, 3 blocked shots apiece from Gabby Shantz and Margot Butters. So kind of your two, what feel like this season, your 2 new leaders on the defensive end. All credit to Addie Buddington still, but are coming up and literally laying it on the line right now.
Yeah, so they're the leaders. I saw Kozik had one. You're exactly right. They're going to need more of that. They better get used to having some rubber marks on their jersey here tonight, because there's going to be more of that for the rest of the hockey game here.
Not too much rubber hitting the net, though, as we look at the screen right here. Just 1 goal to talk about. It was scored by Mary McCafferty, and that's the team captain. We touched on this before the broadcast started, but one of 2, not only 5-year players, but 5-year contributors. And I think you're seeing some in the overall presence on the ice, that veteran, established, calm, relaxed play coming to fruition on the ice. And that was how the goal was scored for McCafferty. She was one of the only players able to jump on a loose puck in the flow of play.
Yeah, their 200-point career scorers had points on the opening goal, McCafferty, Morandini, and the other assist was Riva, who's got 85. She can get to 100 points this year, too. So clearly that top line is going to be where most of the offense comes from here today, and they've already got 1.
It was the usual suspects. It was McCafferty assisted by Riva and Mordini. If you're keeping track at home, those are the 3 leading scorers for Elmira College. And you got to come to expect it. Riva was the one who scored 2 goals the last time these 2 teams play. And so, if nothing else, the scouting handled, because that first line after that big rush in those first 3 minutes that ultimately resulted in the goal didn't really stand out any more than the next 4 lines of Elmira College players. All right, and so we have about 7 minutes to go before the start of this second period. We're going to catch our breath up here in the studio. We've got a good one going on right now, a number 10 team in the nation with a little bit of trouble against your UMass Boston Beacons. And this is huge, folks. If the Beacons were to win this game, they would be right back up, cemented in the 6th seed in the NEHC, and would have to do a lot negatively to miss the playoffs. A loss today makes everything much more tangible and much more scary, and so we'll cover that in the second period. But we have basketball highlights for you. Now we'll move it on to the men and throw it to commercial. When we come back, it'll be the second period. Beacons, Soaring Eagles on the Beacons Broadcasting Network.
Men's basketball looking to avoid their first 2-game losing streak of the season, taking on WestCon, who came into the game 15-1 overall, 7-1 in the Little East Conference. And the Beacons would get off to a fast start early on. Malik Lorquette scoring the first 6 points for the Beacons. You see his layup right there, puts them up 2-0. Then it's a 2-2 game. Lorquette down low after the miss from Connor Walden, who had himself a big game, gets the layup. And then Lorquette once again on the fast break gets 2 to fall. It's 6-2 at that point. And then Mariano Olivier Rodriguez nails a corner 3. The Beacons ahead early by 7 points on the Wolves, and they continue to roll. As you mentioned, Connor Walden, the freshman forward, coming off the bench, nails a 3. He had himself a career day, playing in 26 minutes in this one, more than he's played all year combined coming into the day. Ryan Alkins would hit a layup right there, giving WestCon their first lead of the game. And then with the Beacons trailing by 2, Malik Lorquette down low lays it up and in. It's 20-all. We roll on later on in the first half, and an 11-0 run for the Wolves would really be the difference maker in the first half. It would help put the Wolves in front by 11 points. They'd head into the halftime locker room up by 9 after 2 Bobby Joy free throws. But you see right here, nailing shot after shot, Jalen Jackson with the 3 and then a steal. The Wolves were going on a press break for most of the game, and it forced a lot of Beacon turnovers, which helped lead to over 30 points for WestCon, 37 to be exact. As you see, though, the Beacons would come back in the second half, a 12-2 run to start it. Bobby Joy with a 3, and then another one, so back-to-back threes for Joy, en route to a 13-point evening for him. You see the crowd clapping for him there, and then Manny Zayas with a deep 3 gets the Beacons within 2, and just like that, we have ourselves a ball game in the second half, and Tommy Burris caps it off with a 3 of his own, so raining down 4 threes to start the second half. Later on, Beacons down by 2. Olivia Rodriguez again in the corner. Nothing but net. Beacons back in front, 37-36. You see the cheerleaders there. Beacons trailing again now by 1. Walden misses a 3. Lorquette rebound down low, puts it back. He yells towards the crowd, and the Beacons yet again go ahead. Moving forward, Beacons trailing by 3 now. Manny Zayas in the corner hits a 3. We're tied back up at 46-all, and then Bobby Joy, he hits a 3. And just like that, the Beacons regain the lead. So back and forth, these teams going in the second half. Beacons looking for the upset, and Connor Walden yet again, corner 3, nails it. Beacons by 4 now with 8 minutes to go. Lorquette now with the Beacons up 3, lays it up and in. UMass Boston looking like they're in full control in the second half of this game, but WestCon would end up coming back after Lorquette's free throw right here. Beacons are up by 5, and suddenly now Kendall Robinson with the step back against Tommy Burris gives the Wolves the lead by 2. And then Jaheim Young later on with the Wolves up 5. His jumper falls. It's a 7-point game with just under 3 minutes to go. Manny Zayas, though, tries to put the Beacons back into it. A deep 3 from near the logo with a minute to go makes it a 3-point game. And then Joy hits a layup with it being a 4-point game, 74-70. And just like that, the Beacons still have some hope with a chance to get back into it. Carson Meswar then is going to nail this deep 3 way back, banks it in. It's a 3-point game with 6 seconds left, but the rally would come up just short as WestCon's going to hold on for the 4-point victory, 79-75. Malik Lorquette finishes the game with a team-high 19 points, 14 rebounds. He's closing in on the all-time rebound record, just 27 away from tying it. UMass Boston, with their first 2-game losing streak of the season, is now 6-4 in conference play, 13-6 overall. They head on the road on Wednesday against
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient.
And welcome back high atop the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink. You're tuned into the Beacon Broadcasting Network. I'm Chris Del Sordo. He's Matt Meisenbacher, and your Beacons are trailing the Elmira College Soaring Eagles 1-0 after a hard-fought first period. The Beacons only won 4 face-offs in period number 1. That's a big win for them right there, and they almost had a scoring chance. Hitting the deck was Adriana Crepaldi to keep that puck in front of the net, and it is still in the Beacon zone. Crepaldi jabbing away at it. Henningsen Brown turned away a split second too soon to be able to help her out. And Elmira College, a nice lofted touch off the boards. And Shantz takes a spill. Here comes Riva. She scored twice the last time, and that centering pass is set just wide on the Morgan Mordini shot. Great recovery from the Beacons there, and they kind of dodged a bullet at the same time. But still a 1-0 game now as Bosch pressed into action. Another save up to 14.
Terrible feeling if you're Shantz. You know you're the last one back. You catch a rut, and you're down on the ice knowing you've got really no help coming. You just try to do your best to recover. That
puck blocked in really the high part of the offensive zone for the Soaring Eagles, and so it gets knocked down through the stick of Isabella Henningsen Brown. Tough to catch a rut, this early into the start of the period. So
little water maybe would be my guess. A little extra water on the ice can slow the blade down a little bit and you get tripped up.
Hey, no harm, no foul, and Gabby Shantz, some fresh energy probably now on the ice for her. As the Soaring Eagles is Haley Meter. Nice little move there, stopping on a dime, and this is going to generate a look for Emma Bradbury as she's using that body to ward off the defender. Couldn't get anything around to it. But Claire Meter, that's a tall, kind of bigger forward, showing some very nice skating moves there, and that's why this puck is still in the zone for Elmira.
Yeah, and Bradbury out of Hatchet Lake, Nova Scotia, the freshman on that second line. You could see using some physicality there, some speed.
The hometown is an apt name for the player Emma Bradbury, and she does not look like a freshman. She has been controlling that space in the offensive zone for Elmira College up on this second line. Already 7 goals in 18 career games for the freshman.
Pretty good start.
I'm sure they're happy with her out there in Elmira right now. And back to the top line go the Screaming Eagles. This is the top line defender in Lexi Hoffman, entering it into the direction of Erica Galeniak. Nice chip there by Margot Butters to dispossess the puck carrier. And here comes Kaylee Kozik. No real numbers. For the first 2.5 minutes of this second period, it hasn't been in the zone all that much for the Beacons. And once again, they're just sending it in for the line change. The puck back at neutral ice. And Elfring now charging down the slot for the Soaring Eagles. Stops on a dime, sends it back in the direction of Maddie Horton, who chops at it. That one got towards the net. It's behind the net, picked up by Maggio. Maggio trying to spring Liz Cramp. That puck gets kicked off the skate of Maddie Hoffman, and now you have to deal with the speed of Liz Cramp. Gets to it, pestering Horton on the play, chops at it, and a nice support there from Alina Maggio keeps it in the zone.
Good stick.
Hannah McDougall, she's always around the puck, the senior from the South Shore. And unfortunately, that effort just couldn't keep the puck in the zone. Player takes a spill, and the third penalty of the contest now, all 3 against the Beacons. It's Melina Maggio headed to the box.
Yeah, our second of the day, and this is just one where the ref has to call this. You leave us no choice. Got to have an opportunity there as the defenseman to turn and pivot. And if you can't, you're going to get called for that interference. It's pretty easy on the referee. Once you know you're beating, the puck's past you, you've got to make sure that you just at least make an attempt to turn. Even if you still make contact, the referees will let you go in most cases. But when you just stand your ground, it makes it very easy for them to call a minor.
It was a great penalty kill for the Beaks in the first period. They killed off a traditional penalty and a minute 20, Matt, of a 5-on-3. But just like that, Mary McCafferty right in front of the net, and it was a tic-tac-toe that got her second goal of the day, her 8th of the season, and it was a beautiful one on the power play.
Yeah, that's pretty. That was 4 passes tape to tape in a row, and you notice none of them dusted it off. The catch and release, just moving it around the perimeter and then right to the slot for that one-timer. It's the same power play. I mean, these are the same plays that they continuously try to run, is just get the penalty kill or the defense in some type of transition and then feed that center slot. We'll bring the replay here for you in a second, but that's the third time now where that play has worked. 2 of them ended up in the back of the net.
Getting a look at the replay in front of us right now, it was Holly Riva, the player who scored 2 goals with that just brilliant quick pass right at the footstep of the goal to get it over to McCafferty. So she beat the Beacons with 2 goals the last time they played, now 2 primary assists in this contest.
You can see the talent on that play of this Eagles team, and that's tremendous on a power play to connect on that many passes in a row is truly something.
And you hear Todd making the announcement right now over the loudspeaker. It is Mary McCafferty's 8th goal of the season, and now she's 2 goals behind her teammates, Morgan Mordini. And Bradbury, we talked about her earlier, now it's a wide open breakaway and a glove save by Leah Bosch. She can't clear the danger, but that's a huge first step right there.
Beacons got caught on a terrible change. That's how that breakaway happened.
Bradbury has done everything today except put one in the back of the net. And there was another opportunity for Claire Meter. It just goes past her skates. Might have thought that the first period was a bit of kind of punching up out of your weight class here. Now, this is a very dangerous moment of this contest. The Beacons answer back, or can this game run away from them? We'll see. That was a great individual effort there by Cramp, but she's not able to clear the zone. And now you have some tired players playing defense deep in the offensive zone of the Soaring Eagles. But that's maybe a lucky break there as Schmidt hits the deck. And the puck does clear the zone, albeit momentarily. But you have 4 Eagles right at the red line ready to send it back in.
Well, and again there, Riefler had the puck and then just was looking for a play, didn't have it, tried to send it to an area, and ends up coming right back down into the zone on a turnover.
Great job by Gabby Shantz there, deleting the effort from Galeniak. This one gets chipped ahead. No icing there as Cramp was hot on the case. But that's once again a nice touch. Elmira's been showing some adeptness at lofting those pucks at just the perfect angle up high off the glass to get it out of the zone, and then also put them in a position.
Take a look at the replay here, and I'm taking a look at the referees as well. See if they're going to get too many on the ice call. It won't happen, but you just take a look at the passing ability by Elmira there. Really no chance for Bosch. That's just tremendous on a power play to connect on that. We're going to get a penalty, and it's going to be on UMass.
And the hits just keep on coming because it was a solid start to the period, and this is another interference penalty. And Matt, you talked about it when you're facing a deficit in terms of foot speed, which has been evident. That's the type of penalty that you're going to suffer.
Yeah, slashing call. You're right. It could have been called a variety of different things.
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
It's still 2 minutes nevertheless,
yeah.
And you're exactly right. Just constantly getting caught out of position here. The referees, I think, are getting wise to it and starting to take note. When these Beacons get caught out of play, they try to get back into play with something illegal. They're getting called on it right now.
It's funny you mentioned, Matt, because and this we talked about this in the ebbs and flows of a hockey game, that the Beacons were probably due a penalty in their own right, and no, that hasn't been the case. It's been 2 more penalties. That could have been another goal and a hat-trick goal for McCafferty, and she just couldn't slap at it. A big collision in the corner, no whistle coming. And so back around the perimeter, the Soaring Eagles go. They still have 1:35 on this power play. That was a nifty feed from Peyton Nikizik. But it didn't result in anything, and now it's going to be a personnel change for the Beacons. Matt mentioned they got caught in a bad line change the last time. Harder to do that in the middle of a penalty kill, pardon me. And a nice job here from Hansen to just dive in and send this puck further away. And if nothing else, the Beacons are melting the seconds off of this Elmira College power play. But here's Mordini looking like she just got shot out of a cannon. Head full of steam, going to wrap it around the net. and keep it on her stick after losing it momentarily. Riva wants it in front. They'll go back out to Manning. All the way back around they go. Mordini down low to Riva. McCafferty centered in front of the net, and they can't get it to her. 45 seconds left on the penalty kill. Wilbert and Kozik up top. Kozik dropping to a knee. That one actually deflected off of Jenny Heath, and that shot sent in from the angle, covered up by Leah Bosch. And so I think some things to celebrate from both teams out of this. Elmira College was able to really keep it in and generate some looks cycling around, but the Beacons, they didn't panic in that last run of play on the penalty kill.
No, they've got to just stop taking penalties. They're just giving this Elmira team too many opportunities, too many chances here. But I agree with you. I think from what we've seen on the penalty kill, for the most part, it's looked pretty solid.
If the Beacons need to change anything, it's face-offs, and they do win that one, but they can't clear it out of the zone, which is, at this point, Matt, just as good as a face-off loss on the PK. So it does stay in the zone. That's just the 7th face-off win for the Beacons. Elmira College already up over 20. They're tripling the Beacons still at 21-7 in the face-off circle. Horton around Hansen. She'll take it all the way in behind the goal mouth here. Schmidt wants it on the right wing. Skating towards the center slot. She gets knocked off her block by Liz Cramp. Great individual effort by Cramp. 3 seconds left, but Bradbury gets it into a dangerous spot, but a great block by Margot Butters. It's her 4th of the contest now. It's back to even strength. The puck still in a dangerous spot. Bosch can't clear it out of trouble. Spinning is Schmidt. It's still loose, and it's cleared out of the way by Butters. And Margot Butters dives at it. It will be an icing, but doing what needs to get done to clear that puck out of trouble. Margot Butters, they've had a lot asked of her in those last 45 seconds, and she delivered.
Well, 2 failed clears. You put yourself in that position. You had 2 opportunities to clear the puck. Schmidt, 2 Beacons, Schmidt beat both of them and sent it right back in the zone. You're right. Bosch had to come with a save. Now Butters has to ice down the puck. Beacons are just it's starting to slip away from a little bit here. They need to get some offensive possession. Big
win for Emily Hansen, 2 in a row for her in the face-off circle. The Beacons, their toughest task right now is getting the puck out of the zone. And look at this, a collision clears up room for Crepaldi. Adriana Crepaldi dancing in the toe drag wrister and misses everything wide. That was really the best opportunity the Beacons had in about 7 minutes of hockey. And it was all thanks to Liz Cramp causing a collision between a couple of Elmira College players on her way off the ice. Now EC, in the deep corner here is Erica Galeniak. She's been on the puck quite a bit, quarterbacking this 3rd line for Elmira College. Crepaldi gets it ahead. It's chipped at by Henningsen Brown. It's going to have to be covered by Leonie Kohlberger.
This is a crucial draw here for the Beacons. You're halfway through this hockey game, halfway through this period. You haven't had much offense whatsoever. Haven't had any offense at all, quite frankly. And now you've got an instant draw, so you're already in the zone. You don't have to worry about your breakout, which hasn't looked great. You've got to have a center win this draw, or at least tie up, get a 50-50, and try to generate some offensive possession.
Well, here's Hannah McDougall. She's normally about 3rd in the depth chart in terms of face-offs go, and Allie Riefler going to do her darndest to keep this one in the zone off the face-off loss. Great chip there by Cramp, and it's not out of trouble yet. Mordini will be able to clear the zone. And that's Liz Cramp right in front of the referee. She's going to get called for a trip there as McCafferty gets pulled down. That looked very, very incidental and not close to the play, but unfortunately that doesn't matter if it happens right in front of the referee. And the 5th penalty committed by the Beacons, and we're not even halfway through the game yet.
Not good. That's one I agree. I think you could call it incidental, but they didn't. And you put yourself in that position to take another penalty. So you go right back on the penalty kill here, and at this point, you're just begging Elmira to get one. I mean, there's only so many times you can kill off this power play before they're going to find a way to score again.
The Beacons 3 of 4 on the penalty kill, but the most recent power play did result in a goal for Mary McCafferty. Mordini in the point, and that one's into some trouble. McCafferty was the closest to it for Elmira College. Ultimately, Bosch clears the traffic in front. Mordini now on the high point, to Manning, to Heath. That was a slapper from Heath on a crazy angle. It almost generated in some trouble. Instead, it just hits the skate of the linesman, and we move on.
It's 2 slashes they got away with there.
Riva circling around, and I don't know if Bosch saw that one. It misses wide left. Heath, that one through some traffic. It's still loose in front. It's under Sean. She doesn't see it. It's still loose, and Bosch dives out. You can hear the Soaring Eagles fans. They're not happy with that whistle because the puck was still loose. But ultimately, the Beacons get the whistle, and we'll get to a face-off zone draw. Here's another look at that penalty. right as Elmira College clears the zone. If you look down there, you can see it on the bottom of your screen, Liz Cramp.
Tough call.
Yeah.
Tough call. I mean,
don't need to call it if you're the ref, but you don't
No.
need to do it if you're Liz.
Yeah, exactly. And that's more on the referee than it is on Liz, especially given the fact that Elmira already has so many power plays that have been given to them. I think that's when you've got to find a way to let that ride if you're the referee.
Well, that's Emma Bradbury. We've called her name quite a bit, and we've mentioned she's done everything except get one past Leah Bosch tonight. Bad pass there, and all of a sudden the Beacons are 1 minute through this power play. 3 out of 4 stops so far, and all of the PKs that they have kept EC out of the net, they've looked very, very sturdy. Let's see, a bit spread out now as Morton, playing a two-man game, gets over to Mackenzie Schmidt. Chopped that. Bradbury was in front trying to redirect it in, but it goes wide. She kind of knocked it more off of its course. Morton with 33 now on the power play. Going to dance in, going to get around, and that's fanned on the slapper from Schmidt. Hansen doing as best she can, but not used to being out here on the high point on the PK. And that one, a big slapper from Horton, misses wide. And just like that, Margot Butters, again, has to go down to the ice to do it, but a phenomenal job to clear the ice. And just 14 left on this power play.
Using that strength again.
Morton across to Schmidt. They've had it a lot here in the past 30 seconds of the power play. In, and that one's deflected in front. And it just scurried away from Leah Bosch. I thought that one got tipped past her. It gets tipped wide. And that'll do it. The Beacons now 4 of 5, Matt, on the penalty kill. That's something to hang your hat on against a quality opponent.
The referees have to find a way to get them a power play.
Hansen hands it off to Cramp. Cramp trying to center that one over to Hansen. Nothing to be had there. But look at Liz Cramp, the spark plug that she is, forces that turnover. Now dancing in a little toe drag. Wrister, and it's saved. It's loose in front. McDougal chopping at it. Riefler, did she squeeze it through? It's still loose and finally covered up. Oh, so many chances out of nowhere. And it all started thanks to the individual effort of Liz Cramp.
Well, you can see she was upset with the penalty call because she came out of the box flying. And she's the type of player that can individually bring this team back. She's got enough talent. You can see the stick work, the stick handling around the blue line to generate that shot opportunity. But a great shot by Liz Cramp, and the rebound was, I would agree, they were scrambling for a while. That had a chance to go.
McDougal has yet to win a face-off this afternoon, and once again it gives Elmira College the puck in what could have been a dangerous opportunity for the Beacons. But they're digging for it in the corner, and Riefler is able to change direction. Liz Cramp got beat up there. She was down on the ice for about 10 seconds fighting for that puck. Liz Cramp, though, and we've seen this multiple times, as tough as they come. McDougal tried to center it over to Liz, and that almost sprung Riva on a breakaway. Can Buddington win the race to the puck? She does, but they call off the icing. So Mordini chopping at Buddington, Addie Buddington holding her own and shifting the ice. But Riva right back on it, skates it into some trouble. Shantz almost hit Henningsen Brown in stride there. I think she just lifted her stick up at the wrong time. That looks to be what the Beacons are looking for here, Matt, is maybe an extended seeing eye pass that gets through the defense on a breakout and could maybe get you a breakout.
They got to connect better. Yeah, they got to do something.
Well, Henningsen Brown diving in here. That might set up Katie Wilbur, and we finally get that whistle we've been waiting for. It took 5 Beacons penalties to draw the first on Elmira, but it will be a tripping penalty against number 25, M.K. Boyle, headed to the sin bin.
Take a look at the individual effort by Cramp here. The stick handling around the blue line, and then gets really good at velocity on that shot. You see the puck
with 2 chances
scrambling around there and right in front. Weren't able to capitalize on it, but the most offense we've seen so far in this period. Here's another angle. Good look at where this puck is going to end up. You can see it right there. Kohlberger was able to jump on top of it, but a Beacon power play here.
Butters off the draw. She leads the team with 6 goals on the season. Expect to be aimed her direction here. Quick slapper from the point, and it's tipped by Henningsen Brown, but it goes wide behind the net. Hansen to Henningsen Brown. It's picked up by Wilbert. She can't get the shot off. Wilbert gonna send it back. Kozik to Butters, back on the left point. Butters, the wrister, it's blocked, and it's across the blue line, and Mordini, oh, great recovery by Margot Butters, and this leaves Morgan Mordini without a stick. Can the Beacons capitalize on that? This puck is going to be up into the rafters, and it almost stuck right there. We'll take a look at the replay now on that crazy rush towards the net. As you can see, this is the penalty.
Yeah.
Katie Wilbert skating onto it. That looked incidental too, but that's a very clear call right in front of the referee. And the Beacons, Matt, in the first 34 seconds of this power play, creating some chances.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we talked about Beacons needed a power play. Well, here's your opportunity.
But Lexi Hoffman skating it down the ice, just blasts that one off the net, and it takes a weird hop right off the top of the boards in that little ledge between the boards and the glass, and it scurries over.
Well, I think the Beacons should be arguing this should be out of the zone.
Which is exactly what I was going to say. It's an unfortunate break here.
None of the Beacons touched that. That went off the boards and out. I don't like where this face-off is here.
And that's what I was going to mention.
The coaching staff isn't arguing this.
It doesn't seem like Coach Blanchard or Coach Bradley were too disturbed with the call. Luckily, the Beacons, which they hadn't been doing in the first period, they do win that face-off, and now that puck will get cleared from the offensive zone.
Yeah, it cost you about 10 seconds.
Of the power play, which had been looking good.
Yeah.
It's just been a funny game of bounces this afternoon. The score, if you're just joining us, 2-0. Elmira College scored 3.5 minutes into the game off of a brilliant feed from Holly Riva to Molly McCafferty. And then the same thing happened about 3.5 minutes into the second period as well. But we've had a lot of hockey played in the neutral ice right now. And albeit while looking sped up and maybe flustered at times, Matt, the Beacons up to the task today, playing some good hockey, all things considered.
I think they're right there with them. Yeah, I think all that notion of being outmatched and they're just not in the same league as this team, they're proving right now that they are. This is a 2-0 hockey game. If they can manage to get it to 2-1, they're right in it.
Well, Henningsen Brown vying to do that. The true freshman out of Portland, Oregon, 3 goals on the season and just lost it. I think she was expecting some help there. Instead, skated it right into that. You get that snow build-up towards the end of the period, and it just got caught up in there. That's a freshman mistake.
Nice
look
pass.
at Katie Wilbert on the beautiful outlet pass. Wilbert skating it and misses high. Oh, it was a brilliant cross-ice pass from Butters to get it to Wilbert. But here's Hansen. Has the dump off to Mia Boyd. Boyd, the quick wrister, gets deflected brilliantly by Mackenzie Schmidt.
Yeah, and you've got Butters there all alone, unattended. Boyd tried to fire that thing through. She gets beat now on D.
And Bosch touches it. That one off the side of the net, testing the tough angle. We're back to full-strength hockey. That was the best chance the Beacons had, and they had 3 very juicy goal-mouth opportunities in that power play. Now, are they going to get another one? That's going to be the tougher question to ask. You've seen the chances generated at in the power play, but a bit different in even-strength hockey.
And just take a look at this great pass by Butters. Right on the tape, puts Wilbert in, and she misses high. It's just simple as that. I don't think there was any deflection or anything like that. I think the puck maybe was rolling a little bit, but just got under it.
Well, let's talk about that, Matt. You're a goalie. Every goalie has their preferences. Is going high more of a flashy route on the breakaway? You didn't have anybody there to go low and maybe go for the rebound. Is that like a million ways to skin a cat situation, or was that the right shot to take?
It's tough. You know, only the shooters, and we got a little bit of a situation here in front. That puck is loose. Now they'll blow the whistle.
That's a nice play by Bosch there, as I think that was Margot Butters on her abdomen, covering up the puck right there, and Bosch saved her.
To answer your question, Chris, I think only the shooter truly knows, right? And you've got to look. Best scorers are going to be able to see what the goaltender gives them. You shouldn't really have a set destination when you get the puck as to where you're going with it. Just try and see where the goaltender's at. Maybe try to find some holes. On a breakaway there, it's tough because you're flat-footed. You know Elmira's coming with speed, so you got to make a decision quickly there, and I think Wilbert saw something high and just missed it.
And that's going to be a penalty against MK Boyle, as it looks like Liz Cramp just gets shoved right into the board. She flicks the puck back out in the direction of Boyle. Liz Cramp, I think they've upset her a little bit right now. She is really rising to the occasion and all around the puck. And now, maybe personally angered a little bit by that penalty. Look out, Elmira. Yeah,
I would agree with you. She's kind of leading this team right now in terms of the energy, bringing them back into it. So Beacons go right back on the power play here. And I'll tell you what, key moment in this hockey game with just under 5 left to play in the second. If the Beacons can get one here, make it 2-1 going into the room, they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Nice play there by Buddington to grab it down with the paw and keep it in the zone. And now this frees up some room for Riefler, trying to thread that pass through into Liz Cramp. Cramp onto it in the middle of the ice, but a nice play by Claire Meter, the senior out of Woodbury, Minnesota, to get to it first and just chip it right out of trouble. Now, going back to this penalty, we just took a look at it right now. We're pulling the replay up as the icing is taken. Here's a look at the penalty. And you can see right there, I mean, there's no need for that for interference, but you can see MK Boyle in the penalty box right now still looking rather flabbergasted. That's an easy call.
Yeah, that's a check. There's no checking women's hockey. That's a check. I mean, men's game, that's a fair play. But, yeah, pretty easy call, especially, again, the referees know how many penalties they're calling in a game. They've given Elmira, 5 now? This is the Beacon's second, so they're just trying to get things a little bit closer. They're going to be calling Elmira a little stricter right now.
Cramp takes some pressure there from Claire Elfring. Got it across the blue line, but the turnover spurs Mackenzie Schmidt. Ahead of the pack, the toe drag, and the kick save from Leah Bosch. Schmidt had Bosch trailing to her left, but she threw the right leg out and made the save. Hey, looked like you out there, Matt.
Great save. I'd have trouble making that one these days, but great stop on the breakaway. I'll tell you what, that's got to be frustrating if you're the coaching staff. That was terrible zone entry, and you had 4 players beat with 1 pass. That's about as bad as it gets. Your goaltender bailed you out. You got about a minute and change left on this power play. Can you do anything with it?
Mackenzie Schmidt has 5 goals in her career in 40 games played, and that would have been a very pretty 6th career goal on the shorthanded opportunity. But now, you know, Matt, the Beacons still have a minute in this power play, and it hasn't started off great. This is another opportunity for Elmira to maybe steal some momentum back, which the Beacons have been working so hard this second period to get on their side. That one sent in, just nothing doing, and it was well read by Elmira, but even more dangerously now, here's Holly Riva with some speed, with some wind at her back, skating all the way in, centering pass, it's said no by Leah Bosch, as that one could have been a hat trick for McCafferty, but the Soaring Eagles, look at this, still threatening on the PK. McCafferty has Riva to her right.
Beacon's got to send 2 players to the puck carrier. You have an extra player on the ice.
Here's a big opportunity as Riva and McCafferty take a spill, and luckily where Riva was, she gets caught with the puck underneath.
I don't know what they're doing watching. You're still on the power play here. You take a look.
There was the turnover there that spurred Schmidt. Sorry.
Great save by Bosch. That's just frustrating to see. You've got 5 players on the ice. You're on the power play, and you're watching Elmira just kill the clock in your own zone.
And then at the very last part of that play, Riva getting able to draw the actual whistle and send it into a face-off draw. The Beacons did have, in a 5-on-4, 2 players stuck on their backside, and yet couldn't lead to any sort of breakout in that moment either. It will be one last look in the offensive zone now as Henningsen Brown first onto it, giving chase behind the net. 8 seconds. This might generate a look from the point as Maggio goes back down low to Henningsen Brown. Centering pass is ripped at by Crepaldi, but she couldn't get the pass onto the net. And leaving the box is almost a huge opportunity. Bosch smartly covers it up and doesn't risk the danger, but that was Bradbury once again charging ahead and almost making a big play for Elmira College. And yet, score is still 2-0. Now, that power play was a huge opportunity for the Beacons, and it wasn't as good as the first power play in the contest. Can't anticipate that the referees are going to be looking at Elmira any more now than UMass Boston, as they've evened out the penalties a slight bit, Matt, 5-2.
Well, your goaltender made some key saves to keep it 2-0. Elmira had the better scoring opportunities on the Beacons power play, quite frankly.
And that speaks to the discrepancies between these two teams, as that one out of the zone and played back in. So we have 22 and a half minutes left in this contest. If you guys are just tuning in, Elmira College leading 2-0 off of 2 Mary McCafferty goals. 3.5 minutes into the first period, the second 3.5 minutes into the second period on the power play. But aside from those 2 moments, the 2 moments of goals, Matt, this game has been played very much in the balance right now, save for the Beacons' mistakes that have led to the odd man rushes for Elmira College.
And you've got a goaltender that's making some key saves to keep you in it. You've got to find a way to generate some offense here. Still 2 minutes in this second period here. Cannot afford to give up another one. Got to at least keep it 2-0, and if you can make it 2-1, that's outstanding.
Peyton Nixick there was trying to send it into the point, and it scurried all the way around the boards before finally picked up by Piper Andrews, seeing some minutes in this contest here. Puck down at the skates of Anna Gustafson, but it allows Mia Boyd to skate over to it. Can't quite clear the zone. And Matt, you were talking about how good the PK of Elmira looked in comparison to the UMass Boston power play. Now we're at even strength hockey. In that last minute, it kind of looked like Elmira College was on the power play the way that they were keeping it in and cycling it around the zone. The puck back in neutral ice. That one was Piper Andrews kind of skated into some trouble there. And now the line change has Liz Cramp looking over her shoulder for Emily Hansen. Can't quite get it to her. And back up the other way go the Screaming Eagles. Bradbury again on the front foot. The first player on the breakout. The first player on it in the zone. And now here comes Galeniak behind the net. Erica Galiniak out of Canton, Michigan. Same hometown as Beacon's Anna Gustafson. Loses it. They try and play it around the corner boards, and Liz Cramp giving chase. That ice significantly slowed down now as we're nearing the final minute of the second period. It just died and allowed Cramp to skate onto it. Claire Meter on it right at the blue line. Could have been a penalty against Riefler, but it frees Galiniak. Backhanded attempt, and Bosch calmly gloves it out of midair.
Yeah, some tired Beacons. I mean, you're just seeing Elmira really keep things from that blue line and in right now. It's tough for the Beacons to really do much of anything. Just got to try to weather the storm, get to the room here, regroup. But you got an important face-off here with 51 seconds left in the second period.
It's a good observation, Matt. The Beacons came screaming out of the locker room, and really up until that second power play had the upper hand as far as this period went, and just once that second power play started and it didn't get off to a great start, the Beacons haven't been able to get any wind back in their sails. Let's see, it's still in the zone. McCaffrey plays it into Holly Riva, and nicely done by Gabby Shantz, not panicking and getting it out of a dangerous spot. Crepaldi sending it in for the dump and chase. Wilbert giving chase. Mordini on it. And Mordini opts to just send it down the ice. Maybe Elmira College feeling the same way the Beacons are as the second period is coming to an end, as this puck sent all the way back down the other way. Kohlberger hasn't had to touch the puck in about 5 minutes, so I bet she'll welcome the opportunity to puck handle a little bit. Henningsen Brown on that forecheck, just trying to apply some pressure for one more goal scoring opportunity, but that will bring us to the horn and bring us to the end of the second period. 20 more minutes, one more Elmira goal, but Matt, this game is still within reach. What did you see that you liked out of the Beacons in period number 2?
More of the same from what we saw in the first period. I still think there's been far too many turnovers. There hasn't been enough connecting on breakout passes. Offensively, you had 2 power plays there. You weren't really able. You had one rush kind of before the power play off the Cramp shot. Just hasn't been enough offense in this game. Defensively, your goaltender and your defense have kept you in it. I mean, some of those saves Bosch came up with are outstanding. So you on one half of the ice, you got to feel okay with the way you've kept Elmira only to 2 to this point. And I'll tell you what, if you told the coaching staff it'd be a 2-goal difference going into the third, they'd probably be pretty pleased. So you've got to feel happy with that. But offensively, it just continues to be too many turnovers. There's still far too many players just continuously looking down at the ice, not seeing what their options are out there, getting a little bit always feeling rushed with the puck, and that's never a good thing as a hockey player. You want to be the opposite, feel like you're in control, you've got plenty of time to make a play. Haven't seen enough of that from the Beacons here today. I think that's the main reason they're down by 2.
They can thank the deficit only being 2 to Leah Bosch. 24 saves now on 26 shots. Was a slow start because there wasn't much sent into Leah Bosch, but she has since woken up and answered the bell here for the Soaring Eagles. All right, we will throw it to a quick commercial break. Don't go too far. We'll have the second period intermission stats right after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LittleEast.tv.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
We're back here at the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink. It's second intermission. I didn't want to get you guys too far because we have a little something special for you right now. For the second year in a row, the Beacons Broadcasting Network's color commentator, Matt Meisenberger, is in the running for the top D3 color commentator in the nation. And Matt, I know you don't want to say anything about this, and so we'll let your words speak for you guys. Take a look at some of Matt Meisenbacher's best moments on the call.
What are your expectations today for the Beacons?
Well, I'm excited to see both these teams. I think UMass coming off their first back-to-back wins of the season. They ended the first half of their season with an overtime victory, and then, as you mentioned, a victory here last night. Find themselves in the Codfish Championship, which is always one of the goals of this team, is to make it to this game and win this game. I'm excited to see the matchup. You take a look at this Albertus Magnus College Falcon team. A lot of Canadians on the team, like we talked about. Got a surprising record, 10-3. Most times when you see an independent school, the records are usually a little bit lower than that. This team seems to really be on their way to finding success. was talking to some people. The head coach, Kyle Wallach, has a strong history in the USHL and with Yale as well, so clearly doing good things with this program. Should make for a good matchup here tonight.
Over to Clifton. One-timer, deflected, score! The Beacons once again stay hot on the power play, and they're off and running.
Well, that's about as lucky as you get. And that's a complete changeup. That might be more than a changeup. It might have been an ephus pitch. That was completely off speed. I don't think Clifton, he probably just got enough of it to get it towards the net. Sure enough, the goaltender, and that can happen sometimes in hockey, just a complete changeup. You're expecting a rocket, and you get about half the speed. Now, they're going to take a quick conversation here. The only problem is if that puck was touched, it could potentially be a high stick. I don't know if it was. The face-off right now, and the Falcons are they're going to want to talk about this.
We're going to see a replay of the collision here.
Yeah, and you can see here, it's, from my vantage point, a clean hit. Does he come up a little bit? Perhaps, but I think that's just two players going for the puck there. I think really what resulted in is the contact was high on his chest, near his pectorals, and the force of the hit caused to the back of his head to hit the glass.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Has Friedman, they score! What a pass by Corey Clifton, and Grady Friedman finishes it off, and the Beacons go ahead 2-0.
Well, tremendous play by Clifton there to not only corral the puck, but have the wherewithal to recognize where his F2 and his F3 were going to be. And he kind of didn't really even look to the net. He knew he was going to make that pass. He just wanted to make sure he was putting it in a spot where it could get one time. Sure enough, he did. That's right where Friedman can just hammer it right in the sweet spot. No chance for Bateman to make that save. And a great play by 10 and 18 to give themselves, their team, a 2-0 lead. Well, after that, the penalty, you're exactly right. Roland's lucky. He's really fortunate because he took a pretty good whack after the play. I don't know if the referees obviously didn't see it. It was probably would have been called otherwise. He took a pretty good hack there, and it wasn't called. So essentially 4-on-4 here. It'll be about 37 seconds left on the power play for this Falcon team, but it really cancels out the last little bit they had here. Still 12 minutes in this hockey game, but boy, that one stings a little bit. Let's take a look at this replay real quick before the face-off here. You're going to see the penalty coming up right here. That's a pretty clean cross-check, but then thereafter, there was a pretty good whack by Roland.
So there you have it, some of Matt Meisenbacher's best moments. Now, we weren't able to listen into that up here on the broadcast booth, so Matt, I can only imagine what they actually had you mic'd up saying over here. But you guys can see right there, hashtag back to Bacher if you really want to give him some more shine on Twitter. But this is a Twitter contest that you're in right now, Matt, as far as I understand it. And guys, you know you like listening into him. You tune in to every hockey game on the Beacon Broadcasting Network to hear it. He won last year. What you need to do is go to the Twitter page, and I know that you're not one for self-promotion, Matt, but what Twitter page do they have to go to very quickly?
D3 Hockey News has the bracket up. We won last year, and I say we because it's a team effort. I know my name's attached to it, but there's a lot of people that go into these broadcasts that make it work. We have a first-round bye, so the first round will be Monday. We don't know who we're playing yet, obviously. The playing round is today. So if you want to get involved, D3 Hockey News on Twitter. You can cast your votes for this round, and then we'll find out who the matchup is come Monday. See if we can win this thing, go back-to-back.
A first-round bye, well-deserved, I would say. Coming back in, and you didn't take any time off in the off-season, no downtime, and just right back in, firing on all full cylinders.
Continuing to work on my game. That's all it's all about.
That's awesome. And Matt, I'm sure I'm speaking for all the play-by-play broadcasters. How much easier you make our job. I couldn't ask for anything more in a partner. I'm going to do everything I can to get you this second straight national championship, if you will, on the broadcasting end.
Appreciate that.
Okay, done talking about Matt. I'm sure this has been wildly uncomfortable for him. Let's pull up the statistics through 2 periods. It's been a quieter game than we expected, only 2 goals. It's been a fun game nonetheless. These numbers, maybe what you anticipated, but nothing too crazy far apart on either end.
The point of emphasis for me is you got 2 power plays there, and you really didn't do too much with it. And I don't think you're going to see a lot of I could be wrong, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of penalties called here in the third. I think the referees feel good about the way they've called this game. If it's egregious, they'll probably blow it, but I think you're going to probably see some open ice here in the final 20, and that probably plays to Elmira's hand. Now, if you're the Beacons, you did generate some opportunities there you weren't able to capitalize, so you maybe find – I think Liz Cramp is firing here today. I try to find her. I think Margot Butters has a couple shots on goal. Try to emphasize the players that are working here today. Feed them the puck, see if they can create. But you got to hold it at 2-0 at the very least.
The Beacons did reverse course in the face-off circle. They were outdrawn 4-14 in the first period. They outdrew Elmira 14-10, and you saw that lead, Matt, to maybe a couple more just extended scoring opportunities in the offensive zone once the Beacons did gain entry. Finally, they've been able to win the face-off draws and keep it inside the zone because it's been just tough enough entering the Soaring Eagles zone today.
Yeah, the breakout hasn't really been there. It hasn't been effective. They haven't generated enough doing that. So when you do get an in-zone draw, and it looks like Kohlberger has, when the puck is around, she has no problem. She's going to cover it.
Yeah.
So use that to your advantage. If you can get to the blue line, I have no problem if this team wants to just fire it on net, have the goaltender cover it, and see if you can win that draw and generate offense that way.
Looking at the scoring summary, 2 similar goals scored at similar times in similar fashions by all the same players. It was mirror images, the 2 goals in the first and second period. This second period goal scored by Mary McCafferty was on the power play, but it was assisted by the same 2 players, Morgan Mordini with the second assist and the primary assist from Holly Riva, and it was just Riva, finding Molly McCafferty right in front of the net. For number 21, such a prominent goal scorer. Both of those goals, nothing to it but to do it, but to put it in the back of the net.
The Beacons, I think, have done a good job. You've got a top line with realistically 300 point scores on it. I mean, you're only going to be able to limit them so much. I think the Beacons have done a good job. You take a look at the score sheet; they're the only ones that have been able to capitalize. So you got to feel good again defensively, and with the way this freshman goaltender's played, you've got an opportunity to win this hockey game. But you've got to find a way early on in the second period to get that 0 off the board. If you can get it to 2-1 and create a little bit of panic on this Eagles team, might be able to sneak another one in, and then from there, who knows what happens.
Anything can happen. We have 20 minutes left to go. Real quick before we throw it to the commercials, we'll take a look around the New England Hockey Conference. A lot of hockey happening, in the NEHC today. And no updates for you. Remember, Plymouth State and Salem State, that one's going on same pace with us. If we get any updates, we'll post you on those in the third period. NEC at Norwich. We expect that one to go the way of Norwich, but you never know with what the Pilgrims bring day in and day out. That's a team that's getting better in their second year with their head coach. Southern Maine at Castleton. Matt, that game will dictate how comfortable the Beacons feel because right now, a game and a half in 6th place, but if they do end up losing today and you get, that's the 7th and the 8th team right there, those are 2 teams that are going to position themselves to be right on your tail with with not that much room to roll backwards and to keep your spot in the playoffs, and then William Smith and Johnson and Wales at 4 p.m. All right, and so we have 5 minutes to go before the start of period number 3, so why don't you guys set the timer for 5 minutes? We're not going far. The third period after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, the Beacons trailing 2-0.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you're primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have
a family with your team that can guide you.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well, but it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The University of Massachusetts.
The players head back to the ice. We're about to get started with our third period. We would like to thank our sponsors at McCourt Construction, bringing you the action tonight. McCourt Construction, building America since 1893. It's a 2-0 lead for the Elmira College Soaring Eagles, thanks to 2 Mary McCafferty goals, and they're testing Leah Bosch early in the third period, and oh no, 12 seconds in, and that's a rather fluky goal, but it will make it 3-0. You mentioned you don't want to see something like that happen, and unfortunately, Holly Riva, her third point of the afternoon.
That's crushing. That's just crushing, because you've got a team that looked like, coming out of the locker room, I took a look, I always look to see the energy. It seemed like they were ready to rip, and then just kind of a pinball goal. I think it deflected in off Shantz and then above the blocker of Bosch. Just, like you said, a fluky goal, and pretty crushing here of this Beacon now down by 3.
That's the 8th goal for Holly Riva. So, Matt, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 8-goal scorers now on this Soaring Eagles roster. And that one almost got inside Leah Bosch. Luckily, she covers that one up on a weird rolling puck to keep it at 3-0. But this top line, as we have a look at the goal here, and now this as fluky as they come, but once again, it was a chance generated from this top line.
Yeah, I don't even really know what happened there, or what. Let's see if this angle. I really don't know. That's just a weird bounce is really all, folks. It's the only way to describe it.
Some effort there from Kaylee Kozik after she hit the deck on the face-off win, but the puck is kept in the zone by Morton Gustafson. A really nice job there on the high point with the poke check to knock it off the stick ever so slightly of Erica Galeniak. But back in is Morton. Big blocker save from Bosch, and that one gets through on a tough angle. And I think it's Holly Riva again, 42 seconds apart, make it 38 seconds apart, and she's lit the lamp. No, it was 10. I'm sorry. I thought that was 20 out there. It was Erica Galeniak who got the play started. She hits the back of the net for her 4th goal of the season and the 13th goal of her Elmira college career.
Well, that one's on Bosch. That one's on your goaltender. You got to find a way to stop that one. That one can't get through. And now a 4-0 deficit here. So I think the Beacons will probably take a timeout. And, yeah, sure enough, they do.
Well, it was...
Got to try to turn the burner down a little bit.
We were worried about the potential of something like this happening, but we thought it would be the first 50 seconds of maybe the first period. The Beacons seemed pretty steadied throughout 40 minutes of hockey, ingrained in a 2-0 game. We have a look at this second goal, too.
Yeah, not quite sure how this one beat Bosch.
So watch Galeniak come in from the wing, and then...
see if the corner angle shows it if we've got it. I don't know if we've got it. Yeah, this might give us a better view.
It looked like Galeniak was the one to touch it, and she was behind Bosch and just put it in off the back of her skate.
Pucks have eyes. They just find ways of getting through there, but that's one you expect your goaltender to stop. And one of the things to note, taking a look during this timeout, Margot Butters being looked at by the training staff, seems to be on the lower body injury right now. His helmet's still on, which is a good sign, so we'll have to keep monitoring that. Not quite sure what the issue is. I didn't see anything on the ice, so that could be something incidental, but we'll have to keep an eye on that as this game goes. She's logged a lot of minutes. I've liked her game here today.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and gosh, it's a double-sided coin. It's a double-edged sword because not only is Margot Butters one of your top defensive performers, and you need your defense ratcheted up these last 19 minutes, she also leads the team with 6 goals. Yeah. And if nothing else, you do want to get one past Kuhlberger this afternoon and make it worth your while offensively, and that's going to make it twice as tough. So we'll see. We'll look at our eyes, keep our eyes on Margot. She's in our line of sight here, right to the left of the Beacons bench, and hopefully she can get back into this contest. It will be a really scary thought moving forward with now no Sydney Leonard and then all of a sudden no Margot Butters. Wheeling it around the top of the zone here is Milling. LePage sends it in, trying to play the back off to Elfring. Elfring couldn't get to it, but Mackenzie Schmidt does. Mackenzie Schmidt, not having registered a point yet today, has had a very good game at that second line left wing spot. This is Buddington now. And all of a sudden, the defensive task against the Beacons just seems that much more monumental because the fluky kind of nature of those 2 goals and them coming back-to-back, it really took a lot of the wind out of the Beacons' sails. Here's Cramp diving in, skates right through some contact against Jenny Heath. That was a nice job from Heath to stay at home. And a fairly decent save from Kuhlberger. Hasn't been tested all that much harder than that right there, but was able to make the save. MK Boyle, wrister misses just wide right of the post. And Henningsen Brown gets to it and gets out of the zone. Wilbert coming onto it, and that puck was going to be offsides, but now the Beacons have to retreat and stop the forward progress of the freshman Piper Andrews. That they do, but it's going to come at a cost as Crepaldi jumps off the bench. She's upset, yelling into the void right now. It will be a penalty against Adriana Crepaldi. I'm sure we'll get a replay of that momentarily, but she is very frustrated, doesn't like that the whistle was actually blown and not swallowed on that play.
Well, I'm trying to figure out the frustration because both players got called there. I think she thought maybe she had drawn a penalty, and when she was getting called as well, I think that's where the frustration lies. But it should be 5 aside here, I believe, although looks like there's going to be – no, they got 2 minors up there. So, yeah, it should be 5-on-5 or 4-on-4, depending on when the penalties took place.
So we have these as concurrent minors. It will be 4-on-4 hockey. Now, we haven't seen any 4-on-4 yet. Would that maybe make it feasibly any easier to generate a look against this team?
You've got nothing to lose if you're the Beacons. Take some risk. All of a sudden, you're down by 4 here. I mean, if you want to send a winger through and maybe try to hit him on a long pass, I mean, the difference between 4-0 and 5-0 really doesn't matter.
Here's Mary McCafferty. 2 goals in each of the first 2 periods. Still has a hat trick within her sights potentially and an assist as well. Both her and Holly Riva, each with 3 points in this contest. That one's deflected from Shantz. The save is made from Leah Bosch, who didn't have to do that much through the first 2 periods. She has faced 9 shots already in the first 3 minutes of this 3rd period, and she's let 2 in but has made 7 more saves. 4-on-4 for another 70 seconds here is Kaylee Kozik. This might open up the ice and give her an opportunity to show off that speed, but she's met right at the right sideboard by Claire Meter, cutting off any progress. Now Mordini. 2 assists on the night, taking her time, wheeling all the way around the ice. You can really see that 4-on-4 opening up some space, and Elmira College, Matt, more than comfortable with just skating around into it and finding their angles.
Yeah, Beacons have to be aggressive. They don't have a choice. passive defense at this point is just going to equal a loss. You've got to find a way to possess and generate some more opportunities.
Meter's wrister blocked away by Leah Bosch. That's her 8th save of this third period. Mordini can't keep it into the zone, and Horton now giving chase. Emily Hansen vying for an effort there to break out of the forecheck. I think that was more just in appearance than anything else. As the Beacons, well, not quite able to clear it out of the zone, as Galiniak, fresh off of her 4th goal of the season, tried to poke that one in and keep it into the zone. Hansen finally able to dump it in. The Beacons able to change, and we have 10 more seconds of 4-on-4 hockey until we'll see both Schmidt and Crepaldi out of the box. Hoffman circling it around here. Crepaldi coming off. And it looks like Allie Riefler stepping onto the ice is going to have some room to operate here off the entry pass. Trying to center it into her left. It's deflected, though, beautifully. And immediately LePage just completely swallows up that offensive attack from the Beacons. And Allie Riefler resetting now, circling around the sideboard. Shantz, quick wrister. That one fluttering in the air. Kohlberger gets it, asking for the whistle. And that was a tough task when you have a puck changing elevation like that.
I was going to say, yeah, that's similar to baseball when it's a between hop. You got to choose whether to charge it or back up. Similar for a goaltender there. You've got to decide, I'm either going to let that bounce and try to hit me in the chest, or I'm going to leave my crease and go corral it. And
I like the baseball metaphor. Let's keep that going real quick. With the glove, is it more advantageous to go out and get the puck with the glove, or to use the glove as part of your body?
Whatever you're comfortable with, you just got to make sure you commit to it. Where goaltenders get in trouble, and again, it's the same as in baseball, is when they don't commit. It's they get caught in between of whatever they decided to do originally and then try to second guess. Kohlberger, you saw there, she decided I'm going to charge and allow myself to catch this one clean, and she made the right decision.
We might have something developing away from the play here. Yeah, Katie Wilbert, and that's number 11, Mackenzie Schmidt. They're getting into it right in front of the referee. And listen, Katie Wilbert got the situation started. I think she's going to be headed to the penalty box too. But if you're Schmidt, that's a bad retaliation penalty to take right there. I believe both of them are going to be headed into the boxes. Yeah, just roughing both ways.
Yeah, good call. I think I like what the referees are doing here is unless it's something that's clearly an individual type of play, they're going to take both players. And you were right. Roughhousing in front of the net, both players get called.
There was that classic football clip of the referee saying it's a personal foul. He was giving him the business. Those two, for 10 seconds, were just giving each other the business. And I was waiting for the whistle to get blown 5 seconds sooner.
Yeah.
If nothing else, hey, tip your cap to Katie Wilbert. She's going to go down fighting.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's some frustration with the Beacons as well.
Piper Andrews, the true freshman, coming down the left wing. That's a huge hit from Gabby Shantz. No whistle on the play. It will go back the other way there. As actually Shantz took a little bit longer than Andrews to get up on that play. Mackenzie Schmidt into the penalty box now. And Katie, oh no, it's a disastrous turnover in front on the breakout pass from Bosch. Luckily, Kozik gets to it. But yeah, Katie Wilbert, I mean, she picked a good target. Mackenzie Schmidt, a 7-goal scorer, one of many on the Elmira College team. And so you get a talented player into the penalty box with you. And another look at a 4-on-4. Unfortunately, that last 4-on-4 didn't generate much for the Beaks.
Just updating the fans at home, it looks like Margot Butters has rejoined the Beacon. She's on the bench. Saw a little bit of a hobble there while she was leaving the training area. So not sure if she's going to see ice time or just finish the game with her teammates, but is back on the bench, which is a good sign.
Love to see that. I want to see Margot back out there on the ice and maybe send one in from the point and get one back on the scoreboard for the Beaks. 45 seconds left in this 4-on-4, and they've generated a lot of rushes both ways. I don't think we've had a shot yet in this 4-on-4. Mia Boyd circling it back, looking to Melina Maggio. Now Maggio, eyes up to McDougal. Hannah McDougal with Riefler to her left. 2-on-2 developing here. McDougal stopped. I think she tried to peel that one back to Riefler. The puck slides off her stick. It almost got centered back to McDougal, but now it's a dangerous turnover, and charging ahead is Lexi Hoffman. Hoffman from the defensive position. The junior out of Belmore, New York, still on it behind the net. Ultimately, Shantz takes it away. Cramp takes a spill from Mordoni, and now Mordoni keeps it into Morton. Morton walks it back to Mordoni. A two-man game, and Mordoni opts to circle it back around. Nice handling there by Maddie Morton, the junior out of Colorado. She keeps it on her stick. It's like a great first touch in soccer, if you will, how she was able to keep that one with her and keep it rolling. Finally turned over by the Soaring Eagles, but overcommitment, and here's Schmidt out of the box, down the left wing. Great play staying at home and blocking that shot from the freshman Claire Giuliano. But the puck is still loose in a dangerous spot. Maggio recovering. Schmidt's still on it. Maggio, great job pestering Mackenzie Schmidt. That'll force the turnover, and Wilbert can't clear the zone. Elizabeth LePage, left point wrister. It's blocked by Katie Wilbert coming across the play. That one had eyes towards the near side post. Instead, Katie Wilbert with her shins sending that puck out of trouble. Now Wilbert skating on, just trying to put one on net here. That one does go on net as Henningsen Brown crashing in on the back side. I'm not sure. That one could go a variety of directions. Is that against Elmira College?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think they're going to get called on an interference.
So Elizabeth LePage, who had been playing lights out hockey up until this point, I believe would be the guilty party here, and she's taking that long stroll in towards the penalty box. There she goes. Elizabeth LePage, a sophomore out of Swansea, Mass, down on the third line technically, but been playing a really good stay-at-home defensive position job today. Liz Cramp drawing the penalty here. They're working on getting the replay for it, so we'll take a look at that momentarily. So, Matt, you've had 2 power plays today. One of the 2 went okay. The other one was an abject disaster. They've moved past that. You've just had 2 4-on-4s as well and haven't really generated anything. What do you got to do to get a shot on net against Kohlberger here?
Simplify everything. I'd rip it right now. There you go.
Buddington did it, just misses that one wide to the left. And so puck's still loose behind the net, but that was a great face-off win leading to a good scoring opportunity. But a bad turnover now as Mackenzie Schmidt, I think, just got out too far ahead of herself there, and she was losing her balance, falling to the ice. Sent that one in.
You just take a look at the penalty here, and as a little bit of a play in front, and then you see the extra push there is what's going to get called.
So I saw that happen. I honestly thought that was kind of just the continuation on the play. Nice to see that they did blow the whistle, and if nothing else, just give the Beacons maybe a reward for that hard-fought game that they've been playing right now. Maybe a chance to get something past Kohlberger. And they lose the face-off, but they do corral it high up in their zone. Henningsen Brown, she's been near the puck a lot. She leads this one through. Cramp ahead of the defense. Pardon me, that was Wilbert, but the kick save made by Kohlberger. Matt, that might have been her toughest save she's had to make today.
Definitely one of them, and this is the problem you have when you play Elmira is their team is so good, but then you finally get some opportunities on their goaltender. She's just as strong.
Kohlberger, in just her sophomore season, she was in a timeshare last year. She ultimately won the job, and she's not giving it away to anybody, it looks like right now. Butters onto the ice after the line change, and she'll clear it or send it down.
Almost too many players on the ice there. Beacons were.
And now it looks like a 2-on-2 if Elmira College hurries. Galeniak, a toe drag, she drops it back off, and a huge save made from Leah Bosch as Galeniak, doing some dancing, slid a pass back to Piper Andrews that only Piper Andrews knew was coming, and Bosch was able to, in a dangerous shorthanded scoring opportunity, hold down the fort for the Beacons.
Well, you take a look at where the Beacons ended up at the end of that play. The defense were in the crease with their goaltender. I mean, you've got to be more aggressive than that.
Cramp, a beautiful move here. Has Riefler drawing off the defense. Cramp trying to toe drag through, some contact. That's a whistle on the breakaway. Or pardon me, that's a whistle on the cover-up. And some jawing right now as the referee trying to break this one up. That's Emma Bradbury playing with some fire, the true freshman out of Nova Scotia. Nobody plays with more fire on the Beacons than Liz Cramp. And honestly, Matt, it's a bit refreshing seeing the Beacons stay chippy like this. I know that that's like hockey parenting, not what we're supposed to celebrate. But hockey fans and hockey announcers kind of like to see the Beacons going down with a full-fledged fight tonight.
Yeah, and the one player who's been known to do that, Liz Cramp, she's had a good game here today. I mean, the extra stuff, your opinion is your own on that type of stuff, but I like the way she's played, and whether you agree with the aggressive nature of what she's been doing or not, she's been creating offense.
Well, Claire Effring, the next player to take a spill thanks to the hustle, if you will, of Liz Cramp. The only thing that this hasn't helped out right now is offensive chances for the Beacons on this power play. That was a weird handoff now, but maybe part of the drawn-up breakout as Kozik to the right of Buddington. Buddington just tried to risk that one on net, and it was a great stick block without even trying by Mackenzie Schmidt. Another awkward line change. Nobody really there to threaten for Elmira College, but the freshman M.K. Boyle out of Newport, Rhode Island. She takes that one deep into the zone. Kozik gets it over to Gustafson. Here's Gustafson, the sophomore out of upstate Michigan. Loses that one heading into the boards. but she's backed up on the play by Melina Maggio. Turnover, though, deep in the zone, and once again, Elmira with eyes to break out. It's MK Boyle. This is the fourth line now forcing the issue, and we'll take a look. And we'll take a look at that hubbub down near the net on the last time back down.
Liz Krem just creating some offense here. She was trying to make an inside-out move, and then I think Elmira took exception for how hard she went to the net. The thing I was laughing about is if you continue, you see the extra shot by Morton and Mardini there, rather. Gave me a pretty good laugh. You see more of that in the men's game. You don't really see that too often, the face wash in the women's game, but I do enjoy it when I see it.
Bradbury did a great job shaking off a pretty hard shoulder check into the boards and generating a scoring opportunity there. So her shot misses high and wide. And Katie Wilbert gets it out of the zone but turns it over. Galiniak and Crepaldi got their skates tangled up, but it actually puts Crepaldi in a nice situation to clear the zone. Henningsen Brown doing the splits, trying to advance it and gain zone entry. And Katie Wilbert will do just that. Gets around Maddie Heath. Pardon me, Jenny Heath on the play, but Heath back up to task. She gets it off the boards. Kept into the play by Claire Giuliano, though, and so now Henningsen Brown giving chase behind Manning. Not quite the same pep in her step for Isabella Henningsen Brown. We have a delayed penalty as Katie Wilbert takes a hard fall down near the net. And I don't think the Beacons know that Bradbury's going to touch it. They really wasted an opportunity to create a 6-on-5 scoring chance, but they will. The fourth straight, Matt. The fourth straight power play now for the Beacons.
Well, you can't say, oh, too many power plays for Elmira. That was the difference. You've had just as many now.
Yep.
So haven't found a way to score. I think for me at this point with 8:27 left, my focus is just ending that shutout and trying to get that Beacon number out. Anything but a 0 at this point is really your next goal.
Claire Meter, the guilty party, the senior out of Minnesota. This is the fourth power play now for the Beacons, the fourth 5-on-4 power play for the Beacons. They were able to stop a 5-on-3 in their own right, and only one of the 4 goals scored by Elmira was scored on the power play. But the Beacons just wanting to add 1 to the score sheet here and feel a little bit better about their performance against this number 10 nationally ranked Elmira College Soaring Eagles program. Cramp, she's seen a lot of ice time tonight. Dances through a couple of Soaring Eagles, can't get a shot off though.
Well, now she's going to get a penalty.
And a whistle blown right near Liz Cramp with her stick on the ground, asking how it happened.
Just
you know, Matt,
many.
this game kind of has the feeling of one of those basketball games where the score has been decided and now you're really playing for yourself out there in your time on the floor. Can't take that if you're Liz Cramp, as frustrated as you are right now. You still had a power play in the third period of a game you were trailing, and 10 seconds into it, you give it away.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But she deserves it. I mean, she clearly bumped the goaltender there for no real apparent reason. Curious what the holdup is for the Beacons here.
Coach Blanchard seems convinced that the wrong personnel is on the ice right now, and you can see Liz Cramp livid. Now let's see, the referee's trying to handle this situation. You see Cramp and Coach Blanchard right now, and there's some animation right now. Liz is upset.
I think they're
Coach
wondering
Blanche is upset.
What the penalty was. But if you take a look at the replay, I mean, it's pretty obvious here. You're going to see as Cramp comes in here, just the extra bump on the goaltender there. And so the referee, I mean, it's light, it is, but there's been too much contact with the goaltender, so there was really no need for that. And the referee is going to call it just to keep the lid on this hockey game.
So that was 36 seconds into the Beacons power play. They give it right back, and that was aggressive defending on the play from Jenny Heath, just taking down Katie Wilbert and pulling her stick out from underneath the body. Well, and so it'll be a 4-on-4. Sorry.
Oh, my apologies, Chris. The objective now with the referees is just to not have anything extreme happen, right? You're calling penalties at this point just to let both teams know that, hey, we're aware of the score. We're aware of what's going on the ice. We don't want anything getting out of hand here, and that's why you're seeing these penalties being called.
We're at even strength, so that will be an icing, and it'll walk it all the way back deep into the Soaring Eagle zone. And so the Beacons, at this point, you're playing for pride in this contest, but it's an unknown future. Even this season, with some of the changes happening inside this team, this weekend, it was that William Smith loss happened really at the worst time. But now seeing the way that this game has progressed and how it's most likely going to finish out here, what are the things you're focused on heading in towards next weekend, knowing that 6th spot in the NEHC is not sewn up at all.
Yeah, you missed an opportunity, like you said, against William Smith, and now down 4 here. It looks like you're going to lose against Elmira. So you've lost some ground depending on what the other teams do here today. I think for me, you got just under 7 minutes here left in this hockey game. If I'm a player, I'm trying to earn some minutes for next weekend. A great save, 2 saves there by Bosch.
Huge saves, starting with the kick save and then the quick cover-up by Bosch on the rebound. We're still at 4-on-4 hockey, and for the bulk of this contest, the 4-on-4 runs is where we've kind of seen our sloppiest hockey. Elmira, they don't seem all that content, Matt, with a 4-0 lead. They haven't lost a conference game yet. Are they going for style points at this point?
Well, I think back to your original question, I think for the Beacons, for me, it's I can lock in ice time next weekend if I can be the one that ends the shutout, scores a goal, or if I can be the one that generated some offense late in the period. The coaches took note. I think that's where the focus becomes now. And the last thing you want to do is do anything that's suspension worthy. And I'm not saying we're at that point, but these types of games have a way of getting there. The last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position where you might have to be forced to miss a game.
Well, here's Galiniak. She scored the most recent goal. Meter just committed a penalty. That's a great heads-up play. And Bradbury is denied by Bosch, but the puck is still loose. 5 feet away from the net. Bosch on her back, and she covers it up and makes the save. Unreal run of play by Leah Bosch. There was a lot of Beacon defenders around her, and it was a power play opportunity for Elmira, but all credit to number 33, the freshman out of Minnetonka, Minnesota.
Well, I'll tell you what, forwards and particularly forwards pay attention, right? Goals, assists, points. Goaltenders pay attention to their stats too, and I think any goaltender, when you see a 4, you've given up 4, no matter what type of game it is, you want to make sure your stats are in line. So you can see Bosch still kicking around there, and this freshman, tell you what, she's definitely someone who's earning some minutes.
34 saves on 38 shots right now for Leah Bosch. The unfortunate thing, Matt, is the 2 most recent goals, not Leah Bosch's best work. She could be painting an even prettier picture as far as this game goes today.
That's going to happen with a freshman, right? They're going to give up some goals that perhaps they want back, but I think for the most part, you really got to be impressed with the way this freshman tended the net here today, and for a lot of this hockey game, she was the reason they were in it.
Weird play there as Emma Webster trying to cut off the angle, ends up slipping. It almost led to a breakaway for Elmira instead. Now it's just held up along the blue line. But here's the freshman, MK Boyle, wrister, angled it, tipped off the glove of Bosch, and I believe made some contact with the post.
Yeah, it did.
So that was close right there, but it goes down as another save for Leah Bosch. So she's doing everything she can to keep that 4 cemented at 4, and it does look objectively better than 5 in that regard. Final 5 minutes of play here as the Beacons stuck deep in their zone. That's a spinning quick shot from Boyle. Tell you what, MK Boyle doing everything she can to get into the scorer sheet here, but it's covered up.
And you take a look at the save, just scrambling in front. And goaltender, you have no idea where the puck is. You're just trying to kind of guess based off where the shooters look like they might be the one with it. You got to kind of...
You got to feel for Claire Meter, number 14, on that. She started that rush with the first shot in. 3 different chances with the puck in front of her for her 29th career goal, and it's still sitting there for her. Riva, that was not the best first touch on the play by Mia Boyd. It doesn't lead to a goal, but the puck's still in a dangerous spot now. Rip shot in from Heath, and it's another blocker save there. That was the 40th shot on net sent in from the Soaring Eagles. That one deflected in front, but it goes back out to Liz Cramp. Finds a striding Allie Riefler. Riefler goes through Heath, looks over her back shoulder, but loses the puck in the corner. That was a nice little rush there for the Beacons. Couldn't generate anything from it, but Riefler pokes the puck free. Katie Wilbur onto it, eyeing towards the center of the ice, puts it behind Riefler. She goes behind the net, wants to backhand it over to Boyd and just couldn't put a clean touch on it. It's turned over. Riva gets it out of trouble and now finds a streaking Mordini. Mordini blocked on the play. Great job by Gabby Shantz. Very nice individual defensive performance from Gabby Shantz.
She probably has up 5, maybe 6 blocks here today.
And Liz Cramp with another huge block. And everyone on the Beacons getting down and sacrificing the body here. Here's Schmidt dancing through a couple of Beacons. Can't free herself up. Elfring picks it up. Claire Elfring behind the net right now. Has 2 out on the point. And will slide it over to Hoffman. Hoffman the wrister. It's just saved by Bosch. That was close. It's scurried away from the net on the redirect.
Yep.
And Elmira College not saying quit. The puck has been steady in their zone for the past minute and a half. Henningsen Brown trying to get it out of trouble. She takes it down the left side board. She was ridden on the play by Claire Elfring. No whistle. Coach Blanchard asking for one. Probably not going to get anything this deep into the contest on a touch play like that down the side board.
No, you're exactly right. Any other circumstance, that's going to be called. But I think the referees recognize they want to keep this clock moving and call this thing before it gets
Henningsen
any
Brown
worse.
generating some chances here. Sorry about that. She slid that one back to Crepaldi. Not the best shot from the point from Adriana Crepaldi. It led to another opportunity for Isabella Henningsen Brown. And so we talked about, Matt, the players whose names you're going to remember for not saying die. I think Liz Cramp and Isabella Henningsen Brown offensively today are the two players who stood out the most to me.
Yeah, you make a good point. Shantz with the block there. Those are all the little things that coaches take note of to see, hey, when we're in a tough spot as a team, who's going to continue to battle for me?
Kaylee Kozak, unfortunately, haven't had a big night out of her, and once again, she's knocked off the puck. Her speed being kind of neutralized by the speed and size and strength of the Elmira College defense this afternoon. But a great play there with the stick awareness to put the stick to it and chop that shot away. It does deflect in down to the goal line. Melina Maggio fighting for it. She puts her stick to it. Eyes up just to clear the zone and doesn't clear it effectively. LePage gets to skate onto it. There's a 3-on-2 right now for Elmira College if they hurry. LePage's shot misses wide. And Hannah McDougall back on the ice ahead to Liz Cramp. Cramp feels some contact there, skates away from it. McDougall will dump and chase. And it is hard enough off the backboard, but then Cramp overskates it. Nice to see the Beacons trying to hone in and just generate a well-crafted chance instead of just throwing it on net. That puck thrown on net, it almost got through Leah Bosch. She blockers it aside. Backhanded in from Manning, and that one through some traffic. Tests Leah Bosch, but not too difficult. She makes another save, her 38th of the contest. And let's take a look at that last rush down the ice.
Should have been a trip.
Should have been a trip. And Coach Blanchard wanted it. And at this point, all of those penalties would kind of just be ceremonial, and these referees can't fault them for just wanting the clock to hit triple zeros at this point.
Without a doubt, right? The game's at hand here, 4-0. They're done calling penalties. They just want to continue with the remaining minute 15 and be on their Saturday night.
Diving in, Henningsen Brown, she just skated right into the skates of Heath on that. So that one looked definitely worse than it was because Henningsen Brown brought that upon herself. And that puck sent right into the Soaring Eagles bench, as you can see. I believe that was number 20, Holly Riva, that took that puck and having some fun with it. She's fine. Exactly 1 minute left on the clock here. Now, if you were coaching this team, Matt, would you make a point to maybe throw the kitchen sink for this last minute, or are you just kind of letting this game fade out the way it's played?
You could, from a Beacon perspective,
yes,
you're saying?
If you're Coach Blanchard.
You could probably take it one of two ways. I mean, you could try to get maybe some players who haven't had a lot of minutes here tonight some extra ice, or reward players who have looked good with some extra ice. There's a few different ways you can play it, but I think for me, where you are going to get a penalty.
And that's going to go against Addie Bunnington, and that's just unfortunate because she was doing everything she could and loses a stick, loses a glove on the play.
Thought we were done for the night.
To get rewarded for all that effort, she will have a nice stay for 2 minutes inside that penalty. 44 seconds, yeah.
But no, I think from a coaching perspective, right, you just want to, like we talked about, see who's going to be. And now here's another opportunity. So you got 43 seconds here to see who can I rely on a penalty kill if I need to. Little things like that. But I think more of the concern here is the fact that there's a nice save by Bosch.
From Bosch with some traffic in front. Claire Meter, just like Emma Bradbury, both of them on the ice right now, 14 and 26 respectively. They might be the two hardest playing players, and that's going to be the fifth goal for Elmira. And the point I was going to make is that they haven't scored yet, doing everything they can. And once again, another goal, and it's going to be number 10, Erica Galeniak, for the second time. So two goal scorers today, McCafferty and now Galeniak scoring her fourth and now fifth goal of the season.
I was saying, Chris, I think for me the concern here from a Beacon's perspective is you've done some things well, but you were shut out all weekend. You didn't get a single goal. And I think any time that happens, regardless of the opponent, that's cause for concern. So they're going to have to take a look at the forwards on this team. I think your goaltender proves both. Victoria Kennedy, we know, is a stellar goaltender. You've got her. You've got a freshman goaltender now who's competitive, and your defense was, for the most part, I know it's 5-0, but did a pretty solid job against the highly ranked Elmira team. So I think for most part you're good there. But offensively, you've got a lot of question marks. To not be able to post a single goal all weekend is is a little bit eye-opening.
And here's something else that's just peculiar, and I'll bring it up to you right as this game is about to go final. With this loss, the Beacons now fall to, Matt, 3-8-1 at home. They're still above 500 on the road.
Yeah.
You can't make too many strides in the conference.
Got to win your home ice.
Like
yeah, got to have your games at home, that's for sure. And tough weekend for this Beacons team. I think you mentioned it earlier, that the loss against William Smith, I think, really was difficult to have a team that you're chasing in conference there and lose 2-0 on your home sheet is difficult. And knowing Elmira's coming in the building the next night and you lose now 5-0, you got to have some. They're going to be a lot of video that's going to be watched and a lot of conversations just in terms of how do we get this team to be more consistent offensively.
With the win, Elmira College moves to 16-5 on the season. They are still a perfect 14-0 in the NEHC. The Beacons fall to 8-12-1, and for the first time in 3 weeks, below 500 in the NEHC now at 6-7-1. Matt, they're still in the 6th seed, but things are getting a lot dicier now with a lot less on the schedule.
Got to find ways to get points. There's just not a lot of runway here left, and this is a team that we thought maybe had turned the corner here. Tough weekend, some tough opponents, but got to find a way to get some points in the upcoming games.
All right, we're going to throw it to a break. We'll compile our final stats. When we come back, we will have the final scoring summary, the final stats, and the game's 3 stars of the night. But it's final here in the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink. The Soaring Eagles of Elmira College 5, your UMass Boston Beacons nothing. The conclusion of today's broadcast after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LittleEast.tv.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity, there's a lot of people. Here there is a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy, I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy, I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
People at UMass Boston, they're here because they know they can have an impact, not just on research, but on people, on their students.
This is just a starting point. It only has potential to grow, and it has a big potential to grow up.
You're really having a direct impact on people's lives, and you can see that now, and you can see that years from now.
So I think it's becoming like the place that people want to go. What UMass Boston is able to offer to its young people certainly stands out to that mission that was set right out in the beginning. It's something UMass Boston should be and can be very proud about.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
And welcome back in. We have gone final here at the Edward T. Berry Ice Rink. 5 goals in this contest, and Matt, as you see on the screen here, all of them scored by Elmira College. It didn't take too long to get the scoring started. Mary McCafferty, her 7th of the season. And then the game really calmed down the rest of that first period. Me and you were pretty confident heading into the first intermission that maybe the Beacons could pull off something special here. But then 3.5 minutes into the second period on the power play, Mary McCafferty scored again. And then all of a sudden that 2-0 number kind of gave the game a slightly different feel.
Yeah, they were in it. I really do believe the Beacons were in this hockey game for a good portion of the that's 2 periods. I would say 2 periods.
Well, and then real quick, let me continue and then go back to your point. Within the first minute of the third period, 12 seconds in, you get the Holly Riva goal on a fairly fluky play, and then a very fluky goal 38 seconds after that, scored by Erica Galiniak. And then all of a sudden it was 4-0, still with 19 minutes left in the third period, and it did feel like a very different game.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch there. I mean, that's kind of the story of the game is that third period, I thought the Beacons were in it, and then the third period they open it up, and there's 2 quick goals. Now it's 4-0. You could see there was some frustration in the team. The penalties started to happen. There was some extracurricular stuff. And at that point, the game was really over. But I thought that for 2 periods, this Beacons team was right there. The biggest problem we had, and it wasn't just tonight, but for this weekend, is they weren't able to score. They weren't able to score last night. They weren't able to score tonight. That's a big problem. You're going to have a tough time winning hockey games if you can't put the puck in the back of the net.
And then Erica Galiniak, right before the end of the contest, scored her 2nd of the day and her 5th on the season. We expected the disparity of shots. I think at the end of the day, the Beacons did pretty well. They hold Elmira College to 47 shots on goal, and Leah Bosch made 42 saves in those 47 shots. Offensively, it was tough sledding. Now, they get 6 more shots than they did the last time they played Elmira, but still 16 shots on net and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, well, and I think for your freshman goaltender to be put into a situation where you knew that this was probably going to be the type of game that we were going to have here tonight, she really stepped up. I thought she came up 47 shots on goal. She came up with some great saves. I know the score, if you look at the score, you probably won't see that right away, but if you saw the way she was kicking here tonight, she really gave her team a chance to climb back into it. It just wasn't enough. You couldn't get the offense going. But I think you now have two goaltenders. You got Victoria Kennedy, and I think Bosch proved here tonight you can put her in there as well and feel just as confident.
Isn't it funny, Matt, that I think it was about 18 minutes into the first period, we looked up at the clock, saw 2 minutes left, and we talked about how nice this was, how they had been letting them play for the whole first period. That script flipped, and it switched hard in the second period. This was not a clean hockey game, and it got very ugly towards the end. 9 penalties committed by the Beacons and 6 committed by Elmira.
Yeah, a lot of that I think is frustration related. You've got a Beacon team that they know what the score was, and they were having a tough time offensively. There's some of that, and I think Elmira really was kind of feeling as though they were the bullies at that point. There was really not a lot the Beacons were going to do about it. So some of those penalties were probably due to that. We saw a lot of coincidentals. You take a look at the 3 stars here tonight, and I thought Galeniak with 2 goals, and then the top 2 with McCafferty and Riva. You could probably throw that entire line because, quite frankly, in my opinion, that was really where the majority of the Elmira offense came here today.
Mordini had 2 assists as well on that top line, so it was just such a strong showing. And, folks, this is my apologies on the screen here. It was Riva, 1 goal, 2 assists. But that McCafferty-Riva combination on the top line, you couldn't ignore it and you couldn't avoid it if you were the Beacons as well. And a nice showing for Erica Galeniak. We have her as the 3rd star. She was the motor in that 3rd period that kept the Soaring Eagles on the gas pedal, and she benefits with 2 goals right at the end of the contest. So a nice day for Leah Bosch. We want to put her up on here. She made 42 saves with the 5 goals scored. We have to credit the goal scorers for Elmira College. All right, another winnable contest, and it matters a lot. The next game is at Johnson & Wales, and Matt, that's the 7 seed that's chomping at your heels.
Got to have it. Got to have it. And those are the points that you absolutely have to have if you expect to make this conference tournament and potentially advance, maybe even have some home ice depending on what the teams do above you. But they've got to find a way to figure out what's going on with this offense here going into next weekend.
Well, the next 6 days between now and that Johnson & Wales matchup, crucial. Let's see what Coach Blanchard has drawn up for the squad. That'll do it for us today. Probably as fun as you can have it for a 5-0 loss against the top 10 team in the nation. For our producer, Michael Vesci, our director today, Maria Spilios, right next to me. For our replay operator, Elena Albano. For the graphics operator, Tam Landry. For our camera operators, Gina Albano, Emmanuel Zayas, Elsa Vinaco, and Katie Rennie. And for my award-winning and maybe double award-winning color commentator, Matt Meisenbacher, my name is Chris Del Sordo. Thanks so much for spending your afternoon with us. Beacons fall to Elmira 5-0. Have a great rest of your day.